Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? Every Wednesday on the Low Blows Network, the Low Blows team are at hand to break down, analyze, and make fun of all things pro wrestling. Hosted by former pro wrestler Rick Nash. I think the only reasonable thing we can do now is turn John Cena heel.
Selfie with me fucking dog.
Banned from Nigeria. I will be talking to the government tomorrow morning. YouTube star Corporate King.
This elephant has 4 legs. Joe Russell's 4 legs. Joseph Stalin, if he had 2 more legs.
Bonesaw rips off his shirt, yeah, and it says, "Chuck your law, big dirty tricorder."
And the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katie Harvey.
I won't want to sign just CM Punk.
So embarrassed. CM Punk.
It's Low Blows.
As a lot of Republican rawheads, I'm looking at you, Corporate Keane, will appreciate, England has pretty much turned into an absolute shit show as Brexit plans continue to be shut down by Parliament. A breakaway group of Labour and Conservative MPs have united to form a unit called Change UK, which Twitter almost immediately realised was shortened to CUK, which generously, if you use a soft C, it could be pronounced suck. But like most of us looked at it and instantly thought cook. So the parties to save us from Brexit essentially are a bunch of cooks, and they've named themselves that by choice. But as we get kicked off here on the very important, very serious WrestleMania special of Low Blows, Rick Nash, Katie Harvey and Corporate Keane in the house as always. Guys, what was the most unfortunate accidental innuendo you can remember in wrestling?
The only answer I can think to this is when Paige, Charlotte, and Becky were a team, and they called themselves the Submission Sorority or something like that. I thought it was a cool name, and then they just changed it. I don't know why. They just changed it to something else, and that was that. But honestly, I thought it was a good name.
It's like it's a porn name, isn't it? It's like it's a channel.
I wouldn't know.
Corbin Nicholas sitting here as well.
I'm a good Catholic fan, so it made no difference to me.
Katie Harvey, most unfortunate accidental innuendo.
Mine's real childish, but like I love the way ride means something different in America than it does here. So like every time someone calls for Undertaker's last ride, I just think of like a bogger when the lights are flashing in a nightclub and he's just riding someone in a field out the back. I don't know why, but that's what when the Undertaker has the last ride. That's what it is for me. It's
also as well like it's kind of depressing when you think about it that way. It's like his last one. How does he know it's his last one? Like what's happening here? Is Undertaker sick? Like what's going on?
Sometimes it's a bit shit because he doesn't get it up enough, or like it doesn't slam hard enough. Or
we've all had difficult last rides. Okay, look, it happens to everyone. I'm gonna go real simple. Corporate Keane didn't get this when I said it beforehand. Lana, say it backwards.
Anal.
This is a new Corporate Keane. You're that guy. Like your girlfriend's here. You're like, I don't know anything. I'm a gentleman.
I am.
In fairness, it's not like he talks smut for 2 hours.
To be fair, yeah, he's filthy. Like as soon as you're not here, he's like, oh yeah. That's why him and Katie don't get on. It's weird. Guys, we have a very special show coming up because it's WrestleMania this weekend, and we're going to be doing our big WrestleMania preview ahead of our first ever, Ireland's first ever WrestleMania weekend party in Buskers on the Ball. We're going to be telling you everything you can expect there, and we're going to be going over what we're looking forward to. But we're also going to talk about the wrestling week that was, starting with the news for the week, as we always do, because we're going to take what's been catching our attention, and we're going to give our lightning hot takes on it, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Hot Takes. So I'm going to get us kicked off. Have we seen the John Oliver WWE expose yet? Have you seen it? Yeah. I watched it. Now, I'm a big John Oliver guy. Big fan. I watch his stuff every week. So when it came up, he was going to be discussing WWE. And I tend to agree with everything he says. When it came up, he was going to be discussing WWE. I was excited because we know there's a story there, and he's covered it like briefly in the past, like with the Crown Jewel stuff. He kind of made a show with John Cena that ended up like leading to Cena having to pull out a Crown Jewel because he was featured on the show. So we know like, oh, this is going to be interesting. Now, as everyone who's seen it will know, which would be most people listening probably at this stage, it's been everywhere. Not much new news for wrestling fans, but relevant news. I agree with the general point of it. I enjoyed it being like exposed on a public platform. However, I do feel like I have to balance it out a little bit, because everyone's kind of going for this, and everyone's like wrestling fans are like, you know, I think they're kind of projecting a bit. Like, they don't like Vince McMahon because maybe he's not pushing their favorite wrestler or whatever, and they're kind of like, look, he's a scumbag. But like, there's also stuff that we know that was kind of misrepresented a little bit. For example, now, and also, I'm not being a Vince apologist here. I agree with everything that I agree with the point of what John Oliver made, but let's just balance it out a little bit. For a start, that, like, if you want to look at what the problem is, there's a very kind of millennial Twitter kind of outrage reaction to stories like this, and it's like, let's just call him an arsehole, let's just call him a prick, let's just come up with a chant or a hashtag and stuff like that. And that actually feels like you're doing something, and sometimes it can be successful. Leslie went over into Peace Give Divas a chance, but other times it's just people feeling like they did something without actually doing something. And to actually change something, you have to understand what needs to be in place for that to change. So, Vince McMahon, wrong to do this, yes. However, what Vince McMahon is doing is a result of the circumstances which allow him to do so. And I think you'll find that every business would agree to those circumstances if they were given the opportunity. For example, like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about he doesn't like people taking sickies. Katie Harvey, you're a manager in your day job. Sickies are a bit of a bitch sometimes. Like, when like someone's due in at 9, you're short staffed, you need them, and they call in sick. Like, that's a bit of a pain in the ass, right?
My staff live in fear.
Well, this is fair. Like, you're the Vince McMahon of your kind of day job, and I say Katie Harvey because, like, you know, you're a nice person, and that's recognised on Low Blow. So, also as well, kind of stuff like off season. We've spoken about that many times before. But also, like, if you've got, say, a bad employee, would you like the option if they weren't doing anything and, like, they were just collecting a paycheck, doing the bare minimum, but they've been there like 3 years, so they're protected under kind of labour laws? Would you take the option, if you could, to be able to sack them on a moment's notice?
100%. I have had this issue before. Like, it is really frustrating. Like, I don't want to say like employment law keeps people too safe, but in some circumstances it does keep people too safe from not actually doing their job. Yeah,
exactly. So this is what I'm saying. Like, what Vince McMahon is doing is what basically the US employment laws allow him to do. Now, the problem with that is his wife is in the cabinet. Well, she just resigned last week because she's been given basically a promotion and setting up a super PAC in the USA. That's not the wrestler PAC. He's not like evolving like a Pokemon. It's just it's a political thing. But that's not going to happen. They're not going to change laws that don't benefit like WWE if they're in bed with them. It's also a consequence, though. What we have to also take into account, if we actually care and if we actually want this to change, is wrestlers. They're responsible for this too. And the problem with it is that, like, in other fields, like, where they don't agree with the laws, they will strike. They will not come to work, and they will, like, stand united together. You see bus drivers or Lewis drivers, if they don't get the pay they want, or the circumstances, nurses did it recently, they strike. They don't work. Wrestlers, in this respect, kind of spineless in terms of... Now, I don't blame them either, because the problem is if 10 people go on strike, they'll just hire 10 more people, because there'll be 10 people who'll like, I'll take those circumstances. So ultimately, the workers not standing up for themselves in a meaningful way is gonna that would be what would provoke the change, but they won't do it. So Vince McMahon is going to do what the US employment law does, and the problem is that, like, it's very simplistic of John Oliver to come on TV and say, Vince McMahon, he's an arsehole. And, like, he probably is a bit of an arsehole. Like, let's call a spade. But he's also doing what every other businessman in his position would do. Like, trying to stop employment, trying to stop this happening is like, what you're essentially saying to him is, commit financial self-harm for no reason. And he's not going to do that, because to do the changes that people are asking him to do, like, you need something more than a bit of PR pressure. Like, this is the person who managed to withstand the steroid trial. This is the person who managed to come out, like, looking better, if anything, after the Chris Benoit murders, because he introduced a wellness program. You know what I mean? This is a guy who knows how to live with a bit of bad PR. So you're not going to change it by embarrassing him. You're not going to change it by starting a chant at WrestleMania. If you want things to change, you have to, like, it has to come from the wrestlers, who have to be like, we need to band together, and he needs wrestlers to work. As John Oliver said in the piece, it's like wrestlers, even on the WWE's website, they acknowledge wrestlers are our most important asset. Without them, we could not run. They need to see it that way. So that's for a start on the John Oliver piece, just to balance it out a little bit, because we have to be concerned with facts. It is interesting that a company like HBO is going for WWE at this stage. And that could put enough pressure to enforce meaningful change. So I'm glad this happened, and I'm glad this is getting discussed in the mainstream area, because this is an issue that does need to change. It's not fair. It's not right that WWE get away with it. It's just, what are we going to do about it? That is something that no one's talking about, that could actually spark meaningful change. And I think it needs to be added to the conversation, even though we are far from John Oliver and not going to make a dent in it. But I would like to put it out there for what it's worth. Second point on it, and this is just something which occurred to me. We are guilty sometimes of this ourselves. And I'm going to pick out a tweet, and this is just the only reason I'm picking out this tweet is because it was online today, and I saw it while I was kind of formulating this point in my head. It's nothing to do with it. Like, I'm as guilty of this as this person. So it's from former Low Blows host Don Marnell, obviously friend of the show. So, you know, it's not a dig or anything like that, but he's saying, football fans, yes, there's 3 matches in a row on Super Sunday this week. Wrestling fans, how dare WWE put lots of matches on WrestleMania? Also, every wrestler likes to have a singles match. Also, why isn't this really specific wrestler on the card? Funny tweet. I get what you're saying. It's a good point, and we all rag on fans to a degree. But it made me think with the outside perspective that John Oliver put onto fans, and it's like, you know what? It's kind of cool that, like, he looks at it, that an outsider looks at wrestling and goes, the fans are actually really cool in enforcing change. And when you look at the perspective he put on the Give Divas a Chance movement that's led to the women's WrestleMania, it's like, maybe all of us kind of rag on fans a bit too quickly, and maybe we don't kind of appreciate ourselves in that we care about this product so much that we actually enforce change. We've created this weird sense of democracy where we're a part of it. Like, if football fans, like, look at football, for example. You want to compare football fans and wrestling fans. Look at football fans, like Man United fans, had a huge protest when the Glazers took over. Glazers, still in charge of Man United, if anything, are more powerful, and now the fan protests have stopped. Wrestling fans aren't like that, and that's fucking cool. So I'm ending this on a positive note, where it's like, maybe we're a bit harsh on wrestling fans. Maybe when people complain, we're not appreciating that it comes from a good place and wanting to change it. Maybe we're not taking into account that there is a long history of fans in wrestling changing it, which I think is kind of cool. But it annoys me on Twitter when I'm like, no, I'm complaining again. Rah. Maybe I'm just too in the loop that I don't actually see the grander perspective that, oh, holy shit, we've done a lot here. But the only thing I'd say is another unfortunate thing, and this is just like, he didn't know. The example he used where he called Roman Reigns a pedophile running in the rain, bit awkward. The guy's just come back from cancer. I felt like that could have gone past a bit more edits.
You know what I thought was gas
on
the John Oliver thing? The fucking clip of Vince McMahon being asked, do you think anything next were your responsibility? And his response is just, puts the papers out of his hand. I'm like, I'm sorry, that is hilarious. How have I not seen that till now? Like,
that's famous. But this is the thing: we're so used to Vince being insane that he just takes those outside eyes. That's like, oh yeah, he's mental. Any more thoughts on this? On the piece itself, the points that were raised, or on...
I love the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great, yeah.
Yeah. Any idea for it? He asked for a chant at WrestleMania.
What? What? Even if you did have a...
Give wrestlers an off-season.
Like, yeah. I mean, like, what's... even if it was a chant, a catchy chant, it's in an open-air stadium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you, like... It just wouldn't work.
Off-season.
No.
We want healthcare. Healthcare sucks.
Like, what I think he needs to take into account there is, like, he just focused on WWE, whereas if he looks at the industry as a whole, right, as a wrestler, to me, WWE is the safe option that gives you lots of benefits.
Yes.
Like, I am more of an independent contractor because I don't have a contract.
Yep.
I'm not signed to anywhere. Like, when I got injured, like, yeah, OTT raised a lot of money, Phoenix, Fight Factory, everywhere, Low Blows raised a lot of money, but that's because I didn't have any healthcare, any insurance. Like, but at least in WWE, when someone gets injured, they look after them. If someone needs to go to rehab, they look after them. So I think it was unfair to take so many pot shots when WWE are not the industry standard almost, or they're like
They're above it.
The highest, yeah. You know?
And also as well, like, yeah, like if people are giving out and they're like, support the indies, don't support Vince McMahon. This stuff happens on the indies. The stuff people are complaining about and calling Vince McMahon a scumbag for happens here in Ireland, where it's like, you can't work for them. You can't work for them. And here's the difference with WWE. WWE then compensate their performers by giving them a contract and a living wage, sometimes a really good wage, so they can't work anywhere else. Whereas in Ireland, it's like, fuck you. Or not just in Ireland, like I was saying, like in Ireland, but in independent wrestling, it isn't exclusive to Ireland. This happens everywhere. That's way more scummy than what WWE are doing, because it's not giving them any money at all, and it's just like, I'm going to do this because I fucking can. So, like, yeah, and also I think he glossed over, like, he's like, oh yeah, Vince McMahon gives free rehab for performers, and it's like, yeah, that's really sound.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do that.
I'd love to see the figures of how many people have taken that up, because it seems to be a massive amount. Like,
yeah.
I just think he needed to look at the whole industry a little bit more before shitting on it all.
Yeah, that's true as well. Like, it's an outsider view, so it's always gonna miss parts and not completely get it. Like, especially when we're looking at it from a very inside situation. But like, it's a start, and it was interesting. It was something to talk about and something to think about this week. Anyway, I just really hope we get like bad chance at Mania. We just hear one guy like, I want healthcare. It'd be hilarious. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so just something I saw on Twitter last night. It was from Eli Drake, an Impact wrestler, and he was complaining because he saw a picture of Killer Cross squaring up to Jordan Grace. And his whole argument was, do I have to quote with me? I don't, I have the wrong tweet, but basically he was complaining saying...
I'll find it, you keep going.
If you don't think... If your first thought when you see this isn't that Killer Cross is going to kill Jordan Grace, then, you know, you and I don't see wrestling the same way or whatever. And it was basically that he has an issue with it because... I have a second tweet, right? And it basically says, not to take anything away from her, she's a great performer and athlete, but there's nothing realistic about a 5'3" girl fighting a 6'4" jacked wrestler. Wrestling rooted in some level of realism attracts casual audiences, and that's how you grow. # sorry, not sorry. But... nothing in wrestling is realistic, though. This is the thing. Like, nothing in wrestling is realistic. Irish whips aren't realistic. Dives off the top aren't realistic. Like, when you punch a wrestler and you knock them down and the ref isn't, like, holding you off to stop you from killing them with one punch, that's not realistic. You know what I mean? Nothing in wrestling is realistic. Like, I don't get it. But, is what I would say if I thought wrestling was fake. But obviously it's not. Yeah, I don't really get it. I know, like, you could say, like, oh, he's doing it because he's a heel and he wants to get reactions. I mean, that's fine too. I'm still gonna react to it. I mean, if that's the goal. But like, yeah, I disagree with it. I've mentioned this like loads of times. I'm very like intergender wrestling. I'm pro intergender wrestling, and I don't know. I just think he had another tweet actually as well. Hang on, let me just see if I have it here.
Jimmy Jacobs had a great response to it today.
I have it here. He said, "This is fundamentally wrong. Wrestling is absolutely not rooted in realism, which is self-evident to anyone who's seen a real fight. It's rooted in storytelling, characters, drama, and emotion. To correlate realism with audience growth is 100% wrong." That's an interesting claim.
And we also live in a world with MMA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like
We have this.
and he said also, it's like, since what I'm saying seems to be lost on some, if the women are outperforming the men, they should absolutely main event. They should absolutely be paid as much, if not more, and push beyond the men. But Ronda versus Lesnar, WNBA versus NBA champs, those only end one way. But it's like, it's wrestling, like, you know what I mean?
Is he
Like,
being a heel? Like, once I hear that, I'm like, that's heelish.
but I don't, you know, if he's being a heel, I'm still going to react to it, you know what I mean? I'm reacting
yeah.
to, you know, even if it's his fictional opinion,
Yeah.
it's still something I can react to.
Yeah. I need content for hot takes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But there's people who do, he's representing people who do things like that. But there's loads of people who like that, unironically, you know what I mean? And retweet it and agree
fair.
with him. So it's just that opinion that I'm more, you know, I just disagree with it. I don't know.
That's fair enough. Katie, any thoughts? Obviously, you've spoke about stuff like this before.
Yeah, it's just like, it is idiotic. Like, wrestling is gas. It's not real in the slightest. And I mean, sorry, Cian, it is.
I zoned out, so I missed out what you just said.
Okay, I do have that effect on people when I talk. Yeah, it's just, and I mean, like, it is just wrong. Like, and there's been plenty of big storylines. And if they did Ronda versus Lesnar, I'd be so into it. And I love the end of his tweet, like, this would only end one way. My head immediately went to Hell in a Cell. Like, I mean, straight away, like, Hell in a Cell, Ronda, Lesnar, do it.
Yeah, I'd watch. Like, let's call it a straight. You'd watch if they announced that. Like,
the best part of last year's WrestleMania was Ronda versus Triple H.
Yes.
A big Jack wrestler. Like,
yeah, and Triple H of all people, like, not fair. Has a WrestleMania win over Lesnar as well. So there you go. Anyway, moving on to our main event, because it's time for Harvey's hot take.
Yeah, that's me. I was just thinking about it there. So on Twitter, like, obviously there's been an amazing reaction to the women being announced as the main event for WrestleMania. Ironically, one of the not so great reactions tied into this is from Naomi in WWE.
Yeah, I saw this.
So they announced, I think, what was it, the Battle Royal that they had last year as well for kind of the rest of the women on the roster. And she retweeted it and just went, "Oh, will this get cancelled too?" And I'm just like, Naomi, on a week where they announce women are main eventing WrestleMania, you're going to complain that your spot on the card isn't big enough. And I just thought it came across as really kind of bitter and like the wrong moment. And look, if she feels like that, that's fair enough. But don't take away from the girls who have, this is going to sound horrible, just worked harder than you this year, that have just gotten more over and have just gotten the bigger spots.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still on WrestleMania. WWE is doing their best to get everyone on that card for the big payday, to say they wrestled at WrestleMania. This just isn't your year to have a big spot. And it just came across as really, really bitter. And then I went into her mentions, and then, like, it was just snowballing of people complaining about the main event. They were generally supportive of being a women's main event, but then I see in tweets like, "Oh well, it's just 3 white girls," you know. That's that, and I'm just like,
I hope they weren't dogpiling. I hate when people do that.
but you know what I mean? It's just like, yes, it is 3 white women, but it's still a first, and I think we should all support that and then diversify it from there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's not like it's all white women on the WrestleMania card. Like, in the tag team title match, you've got Tamina and Nia Jax. Not white. You've got Sasha, not white. I mean, even in terms of nationality, you got the Iconics, they're Australian. Like, in the Battle Royal, you've got Asuka, who's Japanese. Like, you've got lots of other ethnicities represented on the card. And even if you go into the men's match, there's lots of representation, probably the most there's ever been. And it just rubbed me up the wrong way. It's a bad time to tweet it, and it just came across bad.
It's 3 white women because they're the 3 best for the job. That's just how it is.
Yeah, and it'd be worse if, like, it's like we had to get Naomi in there.
Yeah, shoehorn Naomi. Exactly. Yeah, like that's.
But this is the thing, right? It's just like, oh, will this get cancelled too? And like, her other tweets were like, oh, this is just a real add-on to the card. And it's like, you weren't on the card in a different match anyway. It's not like you got your match taken away like Asuka did and thrown into the Battle Royal.
Her Fatal 4-Way got taken away, didn't it? Her number 1 contender.
Oh, is she
match.
in it?
What?
But that wasn't on WrestleMania,
No,
was
but
it?
her argument would have been that she could win the...
okay, I get you. It still didn't come across as kind of mean-spirited.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And, like, as well, I think what's happening in her mentions is that you have these people on Twitter, and like they're probably like fucking 13 or 12 or something, like, you know what I mean? But they're like, whatever a wrestler says, they're gonna double down on it because they're looking for the retweet. They're looking at the bigger picture here, man. They're looking to make friends with the wrestler, and like, so they're, whatever they say, if Naomi had been like, oh, this is bullshit, men could have done it, the same people would have been like, yeah, fuck women, yeah. If she did like, God, it should only be black people, they would have gone, yeah, it should, yeah. Whatever she said, they were agreeing. And they were liking, but yeah, no, I agree. And it's stupid. Like, I think we can all see it for what it is, but she's also, there was an element of people like jumping all over her, and like, you know, we're not a fan of dogpiling either, so.
No, we're not. And a wrestler had a very good tweet about dogpiling this week on Twitter.
Who was it?
I think it was Ashton Smith, actually. And he said, a general rule of thumb if you're a wrestler is don't quote tweet anything that has less followers than you or something, or substantially less followers than you. That's a great rule of thumb.
Yeah. It's bullying. There we go. We somehow managed to get it to be anti-dogpiling. Let's see if we can do this every week. If we can somehow make Katie rant about dogpiling.
Like the 6 degrees of separation.
We got there somehow, guys. That's what people came for. Anyway, guys, time to talk about the in-ring, because it's time for...
Say something stupid.
Worst 6 moments of the week this week. In at number 6, talk to me about ICW.
Yeah, I was watching ICW on the bus today, and there's are you familiar with Jackie Polo?
Yes.
For those of you who aren't, basically, he's Scottish wrestler. He's decent. Like, he used to be the king of chat, I think it was, and he was really, like, charismatic Scottish wrestler, and he had the Polo Promotions thing going on, and it was pretty good. And then, like, about a year ago now, like, it was a while ago, he decided to come up with this new character or something. Justice, Jackie Polo, and he's like an American cowboy type character, and I don't get it. That's basically it. I don't get it. I'm always really like, I don't know. I don't like criticizing wrestlers that are very like, that could get like booked by Phoenix or something tomorrow and like, come over and kick my head in. But like, I genuinely, it feels when I'm watching it like Justice is like a joke that his friends in the back find hilarious that I'm not in on when I'm watching it. That's the vibe I get off it.
What is it like? I've never seen it.
He puts on this fake American accent and talks like a cowboy. He's like a Jeff Jarrett cosplayer, kind of, I suppose.
But they actually use Jeff Jarrett on the show.
Yeah, they've played into it. Like him and Jeff Jarrett, I think they want to fight each other now or something. But it's just not good. I just don't get it. That's just it. Like,
okay,
yeah,
fair enough. If you get it one week, I want you to report on it. It's actually this.
Yeah, halfway through the show tonight, I'm gonna be like, hang on a minute.
I do want updates on that. In at number 5, one from Raw and SmackDown this week, because it's Mania week. So like they don't want to give away anything, and they've got a huge fucking card, so it's difficult to avoid anything on that. The problem is that they're kind of giving away big matches. Like there's a lot of multi-man matches. Twice they did this. Once on Raw, once on SmackDown. On SmackDown, they had an 8-man tag, and then at the end of it, Alexa comes out and she's like, "Oh, all 4 tag teams are going to be in the main event, or they're going to be in WrestleMania for the SmackDown tag team titles." And it's like, I've just seen that, man. I literally just saw. I know, like, you're splitting 2 teams up, but, like, no, I've just seen all 8 of them wrestle each other, like, and it wasn't great. And they literally did it for the women's 4-way tag. They did the same thing where it's an 8-man tag. And here's what pissed me off. That was Beth Phoenix's comeback. And she was in the ring for seconds, and it's like just as a generic 8-man tag, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, what? Like, why are you giving away your comeback there? I don't mind if they do that on Raw, because sometimes they'll do that, like, when they're still around, they'll throw them into generic tag match, like, even the people, the legends who come back the night before Mania. I don't mind it then, because we got the match at Mania, but, like, it was just a total waste. And then, on SmackDown, they just ran out of shit. They just had 15 minutes left to cover, so they promoted the largest intergender tag team match ever, an 18-person tag, with just random people in the Andre Battle Royal and the Women's Battle Royal. Like, faces on one side, heels on the other. And it's just like, why is this happening?
Was there any space left on the apron?
No, it was really tight. Like, there was 9 people. Like, it was ridiculous. I was like, why is this happening? Some cool intergender stuff in there, like Asuka beating the shit out of lads and stuff. But it was just like, This is just literally filler, like, yeah, so it was not great. In at number 4, NXT. What's going on there? Week ahead of TakeOver.
Okay, we're on the American NXT, aren't
Yes.
we? Yeah, okay. What did I write? Because I can't remember.
Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler, yeah. Fuck Shayna Baszler.
Well,
There was a women's tag match, and it was Aaliyah and Vanessa Bourne against Casey, I can never say her name, Catazarno, the American
Yeah,
Ninja
she's
girl.
brilliant. My new
Yeah.
favourite wrestler after the Women's Royal Rumble. She's
Yeah,
class.
excellent.
Yeah.
And with Lacey Lane from the Mae Young Classic.
Oh, yeah.
And this was Lacey Lane's debut on NXT. And the match started off really good, and then Shayna Baszler just interrupts it. But, like, it was a really good match, and it was someone's debut. Like, this is someone who they were obviously pushing, like, as going to be a contender and going to be a big part of the women's division. And she did an arm drag, and then she interrupted a match like 35 seconds in. Like, and NXT is very video package heavy. I'm like anyone could have been in that spot. It was just going to be interrupted. Like,
so disrespectful, isn't it? It's just
it
a
is
disrespect.
disrespectful as well, because, you know, she had her 2 little mates with her, and then they started punching people in the face, and it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool.
This is like a ma consoling their kid, like, it is disgraceful, honey. You know where you go get yourself some juice.
They had such, like, 4 good people. They would have had a good
Yeah.
match. The start of the match was really good. Why would you waste someone's debut like that who you want to push in the future? Like, I thought it was stupid.
I know. Also, there was a promo, Gargano.
Oh yeah, that's just a promo that took 20 minutes of my life. I'd like a back, please, Johnny Gargano. So they're in a tough spot because Ciampa obviously is gone. So they had like a face-off, Adam Cole and Johnny
I
Gargano.
actually saw this, yeah.
Yeah. And just the belt in the middle of the ring, and the two of them just had a 20-minute conversation. It didn't really go anywhere or say anything, but, like, I understand they have to try build this match. So they kind of say for 20 minutes, and Johnny Gargano's giving it all, like, oh yeah, you know, I just keep coming back, I just keep winning. I'm like, are you a face again now? I can't keep up. This is really confusing me. And then Adam Cole is like, well, I'm going to win. I'm like, great, you both think you're going to win. And then Adam Cole, like, his music, or no, Johnny Gargano's music hit, Adam Cole rolls out and starts walking up, and then he goes, oh yeah, by the way, this is why I'm going to win. And his 3 mates come out on the ramp. And I'm like, it took you 20 minutes to say your mates are going to interfere in this match. Oh, it took years off me. Like, I don't care about the match.
It was really, they were contriving an issue, like, here.
And the dueling chants at the start. So there was dueling, like, Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole chants, but they let them go on so long. Like, it's kind of cool in a live environment when people are that passionate and, like, shout. When you're sitting watching it, sneakily in work when you should be working, and you just want them to shut up and, like, so they can get on with their
get
promo.
caught here, guys.
Yeah. Oh, I got really tense there for a minute.
In Full Sail as well, like, because it's quieter than, say, you know, the arenas they perform the takeovers in, it's just like you can hear the individual people chanting. You're like, Johnny Wrestling. It's like 5 individual people, and then on the other side.
And this was the best part. There was one lad in the front row who was chanting for both of them. Johnny Wrestling, Adam Cole. And I could just imagine standing beside him, and he'd go high pitched and low pitched. But, like, he was just having a great time chanting. I don't think he even knew what was going on.
Oh, brilliant. In at number 3, one from Raw. And in general, the Batista Triple H build-up. Here's the thing. That's based off a real thing. Batista has been saying in interviews for years that that's my last match. I've got it all planned out. It can only end one way, guys. What was his plan? Like, now we've done the build-up. So, like, he's been planning this in his mind for years. He's been thinking about, like, oh, it'd be perfect. Like, you know, he led Evolution. I was the one person he could never beat. Like, oh, it'd be perfect. Like, and it feels like his plan just stopped there. Because that's what we've got. It's like, did he think 5 years ago, and he's like, what would I do to end my wrestling career? He's like, well, we'll do a promo, and I'm going to yell, give me what I want at him for 5 minutes, non-stop. Sometimes calm, sometimes loud. Sometimes in the same sentence, give me what I want, give me what I want! And then I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do an awkward interview, like, in my home with Michael Cole, and I'm going to be like, you know why I don't like Hunter. You know why I don't like Hunter. You know. And then he did a promo this week where he comes out, and I love Big Dave. I love Guardians is my favourite Marvel movie as well, so like I don't want to shit on him, but he did a promo this week where he comes out to the ring and he stands there looking at people for ages, and then it's like he had a line but he forgot his line, and then it's just like, well, the spotlight's on him, and then it cuts to a video package of like him constantly saying over, "I'm the one person you couldn't beat. I'm the one person you couldn't beat," and it's clips of him doing a spine buster to Triple H and him doing a powerbomb to Triple H, and it's just that on a loop for like a minute, and then it comes back to Batista, and it's like, and then it's a close up on him. It's like, all right, he's gonna say something, and then he's like, "Hunter, kiss my ass," and that's the promo. That's it, and then he walks away.
Yeah, it's deadly.
It was just like, it got me. It was just like, is this what you thought of? Is this like your dream? Like, people have been talking about this for years. Like, think of the My Way video package. Like, it's just like him saying, "Give me what I want," over and over, and then it's like, "Kiss my ass," and then it's like, "I'm the one person you can ever beat." That's it. That's all that's all the package. That's all the feud has been. Like, and this is what he's been planning for years. I just think he could have planned a bit harder, Dave. Is all I'm saying. Maybe live to 10 years. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. In at number 2, what's going on in NXT UK?
So I think I just titled this one Arseholes. And again, I'm going to rag on the crowd. So Noam Dar and Mark Andrews were having this match. It was a deadly little match, really, really good. And they both, unfortunately, got really injured at the end of it. So I think Mark Andrews had hurt his leg earlier in the match, and then he went for a reverse Rana on Noam Dar. And as he swung backwards, his head took out the back of Dar's knee, and the two of them just went down. Oh. Like, you could see it buckle. It was horrible. So the ref checks on both of them, throws up the X's, and it's announced like, this match is a no contest, as neither man can compete. The arseholes start booing. They start booing. What did they want the ref to do? Just let them like fucking sit on their arses slapping each other or something? Like, literally, the two of them couldn't stand. Like, they both had to be stretchered out together, side by side, like waving to the crowd to let them know they're okay. I was just like, what a wild reaction.
And I think the difference is, if that was happening, say, like a Fight Factory, everyone would be like, right, obviously something's gone wrong and it's serious. But I think because it's WWE, and shit like that happens, and you see the ref, like, they throw up the X now, like, as part of a story.
Yeah.
So, like, fans when he saw that, I was like, this is bullshit, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they saw it and thought, these lads are legitimately hurt.
Yeah, right. Maybe I'm just overly sensitive to injury, because I just keep thinking, like, what if that contender is like, I'm getting carried out, and then Cian,
fuck you, Kane!
Fuck you for ruining this match. Get back in there.
Yeah, I booed you. I wanted to get back in.
So maybe I'm overly sensitive to injuries, but I was like, these two lads are fucked, and you are just standing there booing them, like.
That's shit as well, though. Like, a dual, that reminded me of a story. There was one time, like, there was, I had a dual injury before with actually Logan Bryce. We were wrestling a match, and he used to do, what's the move? Slice bread number 2? Yeah, where you go up. He used to do that, except I was supposed to counter, but we both forgot the spot at the same time. So he's going for it. He's like, fuck, you're supposed to counter it. And I'm like, oh shit. So I panicked. He panicked. I pushed him into the buckle when he was too close to it because he was going for it. I pushed him into the buckle. His head went face first into the buckle, broke his nose. He then went back, headbutted me, broke my nose. And we both just lay on opposite sides of the ring for a minute, like Peter Griffin, like,
I'm just imagining, you know, that desk toy where you let like the metal ball and it swings through and you're just
like sometimes dual injuries can be funny too. In at number 1, something I'm seeing an awful lot about, but I haven't seen it so far. What's going on in Impact?
So, Impact closed out with what I thought was a really well done segment, right? It was like, essentially, they had, oh wow, where do I even start with this? Now that I think about it. Allie's soul was taken by James Mitchell. Rosemary, being Allie's friend, went back to the Dark Realm, which is kind of like hell, basically, to get Allie's soul back.
It's like Impact Hell.
Yeah.
It's like shitty second-rate hell. This would be better if it was WWE hell.
Kiera Hogan was also there. She wasn't meant to be there, but she was. Followed them down to hell to take Allie's soul. So Rosemary comes down and she's like, trying to get it back and all that. And she has to fight a load of random people first, and she does it, and she kills them. Like, she does a decent enough job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, also, it turned out that the mastermind behind Hell this whole time was Kevin Sullivan, apparently. I don't
It's
know
always
why.
Kevin Sullivan. He's the
I
mastermind
know,
behind everything.
I didn't even pop when I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Like, he's not really from my era. I don't really care. I was just like, oh yeah, I suppose it's true.
I'll just take your word for it. In fact.
But then something horrible happened. I can't actually remember how it happened, but I'm just going to cut to the chase. Long story short, I think was it Sue Young, ended up stabbing Allie in the throat and killing her.
Jesus.
I know. And that's
Intense.
it. She's dead. She died. Like, it's over. She's
Sad.
done. Yeah. And I cried.
Yeah.
Because it was emotional. It's an
Yeah.
emotional thing. And that's how they wrote. It was really Lucha Underground. They wrote off a character. But the reason I put it and say something stupid isn't because of the scene itself, because it was amazing. It was a masterpiece. I'd put that in the top of This Is Awesome. But the disrespect that it was given by everyone else who watched it, like Tristan tagged me in it that morning being like, this is what Corporate Cian thinks movies are. And then I watched it later on that night with Nicola, and Nicola just starts like bursting out laughing. Like, Nicola, why did you find that funny?
I didn't find it funny. I told you on Twitter I was crying. Let me grieve.
Well, I'm glad you're grieving.
She's literally like laugh crying as we speak for the past
Yeah.
minute or so as you've been describing this.
It was. I mean, you're gonna have to watch it for yourself. I don't know how I can describe it in words to do it justice. It's very like a movie, but nobody in it is obviously an actor because it's real. So, but the fact that we're not going to see Allie in Impact ever again because she was murdered is really sad. But Madison Rain's coming back and she's going to try to get revenge after she was killed a while ago. But it turns out she wasn't killed. She was just put into a coffin and disappeared for a while. But yeah, she's come back to get revenge. So that should be interesting. Overall, it's really good. I like it. But
There's
yeah.
a reason wrestling doesn't do this. Like, there's a reason. She was put into a coffin and she's just back now.
Oh yeah, she's back. Yeah.
I remember I was in a coffin. I'm not.
I'm just thinking of the Eli Drake tweets right now.
Look, why is he having a go at that? That sounds really cool. And he has this shit happening. Oh, Impact. Never change. It sounds like it happened, sadly. Anyway, well, let's talk about the good from the week, because it's time for... Right, best of the week. In at number 6, what's going on in MLW?
Yeah, so they just announced more contestants for the Battle Riot, which is basically their equivalent of the Royal Rumble. It might be this week. I don't know when it is. But either way, they announced that Dan Severn is going to be in the MLW Battle Riot, and that's going to be deadly.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
And Cian, in at number 5, what's happening in Shine?
oh shit, we're still on me. Okay. So, I was
So polished.
so Sienna.
You're the media student here. Like.
Doesn't mean I'm a good media student. I just do it. Like, Sienna was scheduled to face Mercedes Martinez in the main event of Shine. I forget the number, but she was in at Shine, right? Most recent show. I was really looking forward to it. And what happened was, I don't know if it was due to weather or whatever, but Sienna's flights got cancelled, so she couldn't make the show. So she retained her title. You can't lose a title if you don't show up. It's fight DHS. Honestly, this to me was the highlight of my week. And that was the same with Scrapmania, and that was my highlight. Sienna, what?
Sorry, can I just say that you're the same guy who complains literally every week about champion advantage. And now you're saying this.
I'm assuming you're talking about Champions Disadvantage, or... Oh no, yeah, Champions Advantage. Sorry, yeah, I'll get to that later on. But yeah, Sienna retained her title. That's basically it. Hasn't lost it yet. Can't lose the title if you don't compete. It's genius. And honestly, I admire her strategy. I think it's just on the next level. And
Brock Lesnar strategy, essentially,
yeah,
she's going for.
Yeah, basically.
Sienna, the Brock Lesnar of Shine.
And she's earned it. So I don't know. And I hope Phoenix Booker. That'd be great.
This is just the reason to get it in. Like, if it's a good strategy, to be fair. If you keep saying it, it becomes weird if they don't. Then.
Sienna versus Raven Creed. Tell me you don't want to see that.
I'll watch, yeah. No, I'll
you
watch
would
that.
watch it.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
would watch it.
I'll be into
would you
that.
watch it, Katie?
Yes, I'd watch it.
Yeah, there you go.
He has our gunpoint here. In at number 4, talk about the good from NXT UK.
So from NXT UK, the good this week was the contract signing. I love contract signings because it usually means someone's going through a table. But the interesting thing about this contract signing is no one went through a table.
What?
I know. Who went to contract signing with a table still intact? So it was between Walter and Pete Dunne, who like I haven't been a big fan of the feud building up, and like I was kind of getting to the point, it's like, oh, is Pete Dunne still champion? Like, you know, because he was just kind of having like random matches and no real feuds or anything like that. I think he's like champion over 600 days or something now.
Yeah, it's been ages.
Walter's the first person that seemed like a proper threat. So earlier on the show, they showed like a deadly video package of like his WXW stuff, where he just looked like a killer. Now, it wasn't on par with OTT's videos, but like it was really good. And it was nice to see like that they're acknowledging being a killer in other places, and that he was coming to NXT as a conqueror. So that was cool. And then the contract signing came out, and like they just kind of like, it was only 4 minutes long, and they just kind of looked at each other, and like it didn't get off to a great start because Pete Dunne was like, I really want this match, and I'm like, well, yeah, Pete, you've been asking for 3 weeks, like that's all you've been doing, you haven't actually wrestled. Yeah. And then Walter was just like, I could put you through this table, but I won't because I don't have to. And I was like, sold me. Like, you could put him through that table, and you're so dangerous you don't want to, and I actually really want to see this match now.
Do you know what I really want to see? I want to see a weekly Walter impression from Katie Harvey.
Did I even go slightly off?
Yeah, it was weirdly good.
But the only thing that disappoints me about this match is the fact that it's on TakeOver.
What?
I just think that if this is going to be your marquee match, the first big risky title defense Pete Dunne is going to have, it should stay on the brand you're trying to build.
I do get that, but I do hear it, and especially when I haven't done many UK takeovers, but also like it kind of feels like a promotion. Like by being on the,
but that's what makes NXT UK feel like a C show.
Fair, yeah. So
I
there's,
think it puts it on the same level as NXT US because it's like it's NXT Takeover. You know what I mean? It's like it'd be weird if it wasn't there because it's an NXT title, and also this crowd is gonna be great for it as well. Like if it was in front of a crowd that didn't give a shit, then it'd be a bit kind of awkward. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if it was like the WrestleMania pre-show, I wouldn't really look at that as a good thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Because it's like this crowd are gonna fucking love this match. Like this is why I'm staying up for NXT Takeover. It's gonna be great. And yeah, no, I'm glad they're doing it on TakeOver.
We'll get to predictions and whatnot still to come, but first let's talk about the good from NXT UK. It was the final of the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yeah, so I gave out a lot last week about Aleister Black and Ricochet as a team. Still not loving them. No. Still think they're thrown together. Still think they don't really wrestle like a tag team. But this is a really good match. And it was a really good match because the Forgotten Sons wrestle like a tag team.
Right.
So they've got loads of cool double teams. Like they're just a really cohesive unit, and it was a really good match. And I had one of my favourite things in wrestling. I don't know how you feel about referees, but like I know you love referees.
Yeah, big refs.
I love when a referee does a good job of eliminating someone from ringside.
Yeah!
Something that kills me in matches when refs are just like, you need to leave now, please. Like, and it's just like, I like my refs to be big. I like them to like G it up with their hands. I like them to do the big dramatic, like a drum roll, dramatic point. And like they did that at the end of the match, and like it was deadly.
Yeah.
Because they did like a little reverse trope where when the Forgotten Sons had Aleister Black pin, Aleister Black puts his foot on the rope and he just comes along and like sweeps it off, but the ref catches him.
Nice.
So the reverse of like the heel and the putting the foot on the rope, and it just made it for me. It was just a really good match. Like I would definitely go watch it, and like I'm disappointed Aleister Black and Ricochet won again because they're not a tag team.
Chemistry, you know what I mean? It's all about chemistry.
I know. And like the last few Dusty Rhodes Classics weren't really won by tag teams, like Finn Balor and Samoa Joe won one year.
Yeah, that's true. Who won last year? Was it TM6?
Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
But I think they were very new.
Yeah, that's true.
Would they have like rotated their members as well because like one of them got injured?
Maybe.
I think you're right, and yeah, because that was when Kyle O'Reilly, and it was the Mania Takeover last year, and then Adam Cole had to do 2 matches. Yeah, I remember that.
Who won was the first one Balor and Samoa Joe?
It was.
The second one then was.
I think you're right in saying Undisputed, and then I think there's
been 4. There was another team as well that was mentioned, but I think they were thrown together as well.
Authors of Pain?
Oh, sorry, it was Authors of Pain.
Yeah. So two actual tag teams
and two non-tag teams.
It's weird for a tag team tournament when you have loads of tags in it.
Yeah, to not have tag teams.
And also another weird thing, Aleister Black and Ricochet, the tag team who isn't a tag team, are getting 2 tag team title shots at like WrestleMania weekend. They're on NXT and they're on WrestleMania getting a shot at the SmackDown tag team titles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. It is strange. They don't know what to do with them, and they're two really talented wrestlers. Like they're not hard to book. Like especially on NXT, like there's your main event.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to use.
And they're
them,
having
like.
good tag team matches, but it is like two singles wrestlers
Yeah.
having two singles matches at the same time.
We were doing a tweet-a-thon for WrestleMania 20 the other night, and they had RVD and Booker T come out as the tag team champions, and it just shows that this shit does not age well, because everyone was just like, what the fuck are they a tag team for? And they had words like, I usually love mashup team music with a tag team, but they had the worst. It's like, can you dig it? What have I got? It's the worst. It's so bad that when they won, they just played Rob Van Dam's music. In at number 2, I want to talk about SmackDown Live, the contract signing for Kofi Kingston against Daniel Bryan. Absolutely brilliant. Daniel Bryan is a fantastic heel. The reason he is because that golden rule for heels. Heels must always believe what they're saying. And Bryan believes it because what Bryan says is the truth. Bryan gives Kofi a big lecture about how the fans don't care about him, about how he is a fad and they will turn on him or just forget about him when they're not using him. How the fans are parasites and they leech off you. You think you're leeching off them, but they're leeching off you. They're not building you up. You're building them up. And it's but also when you think about it, that is kind of true of wrestling fans. You know what I mean? We do catch on to these people for a while, and then in 6 months. Kofi, I don't think is going to win on Sunday, but either way, I don't think in 6 months to a year from now, Kofi will still be in the main event, and we won't be calling for it anymore. You know what I mean? We've caught lightning in a bottle for 3 months, and it's a cool thing. But then when he goes back to being in mid-card tag team matches, we're going to be like, yeah, that's where Kofi fits. Yeah, that's it. It's we're not going to actually build up his career. So it was based off truth, and then Kofi got hot at the end of it, and it made sense because it's Bryan's after pushing his buttons. Bryan's after hitting in at a truism because and the fans, this shit got heat with the fans because what hurts more than what do we hate? It's I'm mad for the deep chats these days. I was having a conversation and it's a deep chat the other day, and it's do we actually love people or do we love how they make us feel about ourselves? Well, the inverse is true of hating people. We hate people who make us feel like something negative about ourselves. You know what I mean? We hate, and that's what Bryan's making them feel by saying stuff because they're getting legitimate heat. This is Daniel Bryan, who a year ago we were crying when he came back at WrestleMania, and we were like, fuck you! The fans are going crazy, and then Kofi comes back and he's talking about his family and talking about this, and he's so angry. It actually worked. It sounds shit, but it actually worked. He's so angry that he's just what's he saying? He's just I'll tell you. Oh, I'm going to show you. And he just keeps slipping on his words, but he's standing up and he's I've kept quiet until now. And then at WrestleMania, I'm going to win the WWE Championship. And he hadn't actually said that yet. He just said he wanted to compete for it. So when he said that, it hit it. It had the punctuation mark that it wanted, and it was fantastic. So I really loved that promo, but not the best thing in the week because there can only be one from Raw. First off, an honorable mention for something from Raw. They did a video package for Kurt Angle. When WWE do video packages, they're and they do the top level. They're better than any other sport. Never mind wrestling. They're top of the top. They're creme de la creme for this. They did a thing for Kurt Angle where it's to the team of Love Runs Out by One Republic, and it actually added gravitas to the match for Baron Corbin because we're they're that's the theme song for WrestleMania. That's their My Way, and they're using it on that match. But it was also a happy team package because it was celebrating Kurt Angle's career while also making you look forward to the match and seeing him you actually want to see his last match at the end of this, even though it's Kurt Angle, Baron Corbin, which I don't actually think is going to happen, and I'll explain why when we get to predictions. But number one, it can only be one, and this could have easily been in say something stupid as well, but it was so ridiculous. I think everyone knows what I'm talking about by now. I'm talking about the brawl between Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda. At the start, Okay, they have overbooked this feud at times. I think they're a bit like worried about overcompensating, like, you know, making sure that all fans are on board, and they keep having to add stuff to the match. Like Raw started with Stephanie McMahon coming out and saying the winner takes all at WrestleMania, so the winner gets both the Raw and SmackDown tag team or the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. I don't know what they're going to do with them afterwards. It's going to be weird. They might have to vacate one or whatever, but we'll see. But they just keep adding shit to it, and then they had a 6-man tag with the Riot Squad, and they added a stipulation where it's like the first person to betray their tag team is out of the main event at WrestleMania, and it's like, stop, like, you're not going to do that. That's not going to come into play. Why would you make that, like, even in kayfabe, why would you make that stipulation? Like, you've got this box office three-way, like...
To ensure that they remain a team against the Riot Squad and we get a fair tag team match.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we did, and sure enough they won. Ronda taps out one of the Riot Squad, and then, like, it was cool from then, because as soon as she tapped her out, she runs straight over it, smacks Charlotte in the face, and I'm like, yeah, that's how real people would act like in that situation. The cops run down, they start smacking each other, they start like knocking down security guards, and then the cops ran down, they started knocking down the cops, and then like Ronda was the first to knock down a cop, so she got handcuffed. Then Becky comes over while Ronda's handcuffed, runs across the ring and smacks her, like gives her a clean one in the jaw, which is great because it shades of great booking, because the commentary team are like, that's sickening from Becky, that's absolutely appalling behaviour, I was on Becky's side until now, but that, and it's just like, it's showing them as real people, but the fans will react to that. It's very meta. The fans will react to her doing that as like, she's a fucking hero, legend. Like, it's like Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's fans, when he does something mental, are gonna go, that's why I like him. That's why I like him. Even if the rest of the world is like sickening behaviour. Then like, they all get arrested. They're all struggling with the cops. They're like, I loved the realism of them like fighting off the cops, like even up the way to the stage. They're trying to stomp on their feet. They're trying to headbutt them. They're trying to elbow them. Like, it's like, and like usually in these situations, it's like wrestler gets arrested, and then like they put up a fight in the ring, and then as they're walking up the ramp, they're like, oh well, I guess I got arrested. They just never stopped here. Literally, they never stopped because it comes back from commercial, and then they're still struggling with the cops, and you're like, all right, this is getting a bit weird. And like Becky starts taunting Ronda at one stage where she's just like, I love this, by the way, because it's so true. It's like, Ronda, you little weirdo. Because let's call a spade. Ronda is weird. She's like one of these like high level sports people who are like psychopathic because they're so competitive, and we can all pick it up, but like Becky's like got it in one, whereas like, yeah, she's fucking weird, right? I don't know, I can't put my finger on it, she's just weird, like so they're all shit talking, and then they start fighting with each other, so the cops are trying to get them into a car. At one stage, like, they put Ronda in a car, and then they put Becky beside her, and then like there was a cool camera angle that just like showed the two of them together. They turn around, look at each other, and immediately start scissoring in the car. It was very random. Look it up, they do. Because they're handcuffed, so they can't do anything with they can't punch each other. So it looked like they just started scissoring. It did. They both started like trying to kick each other, but it's like they can't because they're in the back of a car. And then Ronda kicks the window in. They take Becky out, and then Charlotte comes out of nowhere, knees Ronda in the face, which was stiff as fuck looking. We were saying beforehand, like, it was so stiff that it was one of those things when you have a real injury happen, the wrestler will no-sell it because they're like, I'm okay. Like, Ronda, like, she got kicked into the side of the window because when she put her head out of the window, she was just, which is of course broken now, she was too close to the side, and then Charlotte kneed her legit, because Charlotte, like, has her hands cuffed, so she can't, like, she can't control her body the way she normally would. Ronda goes neck first into the side of the thing, and then, like, sits in the car immediately, like, clearly in her head was like, fuck. So she's just like, I'm fine! It was insane. It was crazy. It was intense. But it felt big, it felt notable, and it was entertaining as fuck.
Y'all would have been fucking funny as fuck, though. If Liv Morgan just tapped out Ronda Rousey in the match. That's just how it ends. Like the whole after all this build up, that's it. Like,
oh, I forgot about it. Like randomly, like they take Becky out of the car, and Ronda's like gets kicked in the face, and then out of nowhere, Ronda steals the cop car and then just drives into another one. And they're like, "What are you doing?" Like she didn't get any. She can't use her hands. She just put her feet on the gas. So she just went straight. And then they're like, "What are you doing?" It wasn't even aiming towards anyone. She just stole a car for no reason. Do you know what else would have been funny? If for no reason, like Lacey Evan walks and then Charlotte just knees her as well, and then it's like, well, I guess we'll never see Lacey again. It was amazing. We all saw this. Have we seen it yet? Yeah. Well, any more thoughts on it? Any more to add? Or
I haven't watched it yet, but I am immensely looking forward to catching up on it now.
You need it. It's batshit insane.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, what? This is how you're selling the main event of Mania, and why do I love it? It's so random and risky. Go on.
One thing that I do need to point out that I showed you guys earlier was the fucking remix that someone did of Charlotte's knee to the fucking face. I'll send it to you so you retweet it on the Lobos account. It's incredible. They used the cha-cha slide.
Amazing.
And they put it, like, they basically edited the video of Charlotte's knee to the cha-cha slide. It is incredible.
We will. We'll tweet that out. We'll have that tweeted out before the end of the show. So yeah, get on to that. But anyway, guys, that's all building up to this weekend. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the biggest weekend of the year. It's time for this.
For the first time ever in Ireland, Buskers on the Ball becomes the pub that never sleeps as Low Blows presents our first ever WrestleMania weekend. The only way to experience WrestleMania if you can't be in New York. Starting on Saturday 7th of April, NXT x NJPW. We screen NXT Blacklist in full from 9 p.m. Then aired at New Japan and Ring of Honor G1 Supercard in Madison Square Garden live and in full. Sunday 8th of April, our annual WrestleMania party from 8 p.m. Pre-show entertainment including our Hall of Fame ceremony, retro gaming contests and the second annual Pool Mania. Then watch WWE WrestleMania 35 live and in full in an amazing atmosphere. No Temple Bar prices on booze and full food menu available both nights. Weekend passes or individual night passes now available on eventbrite.ie or free including a table to €8 subscribers at patreon.com/#lowblows. Table bookings automated via Eventbrite, so book early to guarantee a table. Celebrate Becky Lynch finishing the job she started at the Royal Rumble in style with a packed Irish crowd in Buskers on the Ball. Low Blows. For 8 years, redefining fandom.
WrestleMania this weekend, guys, is flown in. Ireland's first ever WrestleMania weekend party. For the first time ever, we will have 2 nights. Saturday night, we get kicked off with NXT and New Japan. NXT Takeover is going to air from 9 p.m. in full. That's going to be in Bar 1 in Buskers, by the way, which is going to be better because we're going to have, after NXT, we're going to have simulcast. We're going to have the Hall of Fame and the G1 Supercard. And if you want to watch the Hall of Fame with volume, we're going to have that on the other bar. So it's going to be an absolutely class night. Here's the reality: if you're on the fence and you're like, oh, do I want to go out both nights? Yeah, you do. It's going to be class, and you'll always speak about it if you do. You're going to be like, do you remember that mental weekend where I just like lived in an Irish pub and watched all of the wrestling ever? But also as well, here's the thing: when you're going to look for G1 Supercard, you're left with a few choices. You either have to sign up for a subscription with New Japan, you either have to pay £50 to Fight TV, or you have to risk a dodgy stream, which can be dodgy as fuck at the best of times, or you can just come down, have pints, have atmosphere, and see it all hassle-free with us and have a great night that you'll always remember. It's going to be absolutely class, guys, to get in on that. Then we move on to the WrestleMania party on Sunday, the greatest WrestleMania party in the world, Low Blows Mania 8. We made some announcements this week, and we're going to be making some more right now. We're going to be doing a video game contest on Sunday with WWF WrestleMania 2000 for the N64. Free drink on the line for anyone who wins that. The Low Blows Hall of Fame will be back, hosted by none other than Justy. Guys, if you want to get involved in that, and if you want to be immortalized in our Hall of Fame, the 5 best fancy dressed people compete in a series of wrestling based challenges, and then the winner winner gets free drink as well and is in our Hall of Fame. And then we will have the return for the second year of Pool Mania. Mr. Small Package, the Lobos Pool Champion, Phil Boyd, will defend his title. I can exclusively reveal, not once, but twice on the night. He's going to face our sole survivor from Survivor Series, Andy Mahan, and then whoever wins that is going to face one of you. Because we are bringing back something very popular last year, the Henry the Giant Battle Royal. So guys, basically 10 people, again decided by raffle, get to play in a Battle Royal. Similar enough to the Rumble. If you miss, you're thrown over the top rope. If you score, your shot, you're through. Very simple, a lot of crack. The Royal Rumble was absolutely gas crack. People doing bumps and all for it. It was fantastic. We have Dave and John bringing back the ropes as well. So you're literally going to be thrown over the top rope. And then the winner gets free beer and gets to fight for the Low Blows Pool Championship that night. Guys, we've no more tables. We're all booked up, but don't worry, because we have a whole second bar on Sunday with free tables that aren't booked. We're leaving them all unreserved. That's the video wall room. So arrive early and you should be fine. And since it's like, as well, if you're worried about seating or anything like that, since buskers have done up the venue, we don't know how many people are going to be there. It's set to be like our busiest night, at least since the first WrestleMania party in buskers. It's absolutely mental. But since buskers have done up the venue, we haven't had a night where everyone hasn't had seats, because there's much more space and much more seating that we have in there. So it should be all right, especially if you're there early. If you get there at midnight, look, you might be risking it, but if you get there early enough, you should be grand for a seat, so it's going to be great. So that is the weekend in terms of Low Blows. Tickets, eventbrite.ie. Now we're going to talk about the specific cards and matches, starting on Friday night, but we're going to be watching it on Saturday night with NXT Takeover New York. Katie, you're a resident NXT correspondent. What are you looking forward to, and have you got any predictions or anything you think or want to happen?
Let me have a quick look at the card here, because I didn't charge my phone today. So, yes, NXT. The one I'm most looking forward to is Velveteen Dream and Matt Riddle. Oh, yeah. Personally, for me. I was supposed to mention it, and this is awesome, but I forgot to. I gave about Shayna Baszler's run-in. What was amazing was Velveteen Dream's wheeling. And what I mean by that is Matt Riddle was wrestling Kona Reeves, and next thing Velveteen Dream's music hits, and he gets wheeled onto stage with the sofa, with the glass of wine, with the girls, with the lights, with the music, and just sits there and chills. Doesn't interfere. Doesn't get involved. Just chills. And it was magical. But they're both deadly. Nice. Matt Riddle's undefeated, so it's going to be really interesting to see if he actually beats him and gets the title. They do a lot of undefeated gimmicks in NXT, but this one feels special. I think it's going to go longer. I think Matt Riddle's probably going to win this one. Main event is Gargano and Adam Cole. I kind of shit on the promo earlier, but it's going to be a very well wrestled match, and the crowd's going to be really into it, so it's going to be a great atmosphere. The other match I'm looking forward to, War Raiders and Ricochet and Aleister Black, just because War Raiders are such a good team, and I just think they steal the show nearly every time. So yeah, it's a really solid card. Every match is a title match, which is interesting. So every match has a solid meaning behind it.
Walter Pete Dunne, who you got?
Walter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of have to,
They have to now at this stage, yeah.
It'd be weird, because then, he can't challenge if he loses, so, yeah. And then, they'll have a rematch as well, and, I think that's going to steal the show, and I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to have that random feel to it. Guys, as well, I forgot to mention that we're going to have two prediction leagues, or two prediction contests this week. We're going to have a joint one for NXT and G1, and we're going to have a WrestleMania one, so get on to facebook.com/#LowBlows to play it. First one goes up on Thursday, and then our WrestleMania one goes up on Friday. Speaking of G1 Supercard, next time we watch New Japan and Ring of Honor, it's going to be in Madison Square Garden. I cannot wait for this. I really hope they do the old entrance. Do you know the one that's on the hard cam? I really hope it's proper old school Madison Square Garden, because it's going to be surreal watching the indiest of indie wrestlers like Will Ospreay and Okada do entrances in that iconic building. Because buildings don't mean a lot in wrestling, because they all look like the set of whatever company they're performing in. But Madison Square Garden looks like Madison Square Garden. It's going to be unreal. I cannot wait. Previewing the Ring of Honor side, Cian, what are you looking forward to? And what do you think's going to happen?
I think we're going to get a new Ring of Honor champion.
Okay.
So it's a ladder match between Jay Lethal, Matt Taven, and Marty Skrull. Lethal and Matt Taven are just in off a 60-minute time limit draw. So I would prefer if this was like a regular triple threat with no like ladders or anything like that. But I feel like with the ladder match, I just feel like Matt Taven's going to steal it. And
interesting.
I know it's entertaining. There's other stuff on there. A Japanese woman whose name I can't pronounce is facing Kelly Klein again.
Mayu Iwatana? I've practiced in Sashi.
I think, is it not Iwatani?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
I practiced my own typo. God damn it!
That's why it put me off. There's a 4-way tag match. That's for I think it's for the New Japan and Ring of Honor titles.
Yes.
The Guerrillas of Destiny.
Your
versus
faves.
What?
Your faves.
Yeah, I suppose.
You don't like them anymore?
I do, but I wouldn't die for them. You know what I mean? It's just like
is it that or nothing? Like,
they're the
would
best.
you die for me?
They're the best for.
So you don't like me, is what you're saying?
They're the best out of the New Japan teams. They'd be my favorite out of them. Do you know what I mean? But in the world, if it was LAX, I'd be losing my shit for this. You know what I mean? But no, out of those teams, it's Guerrillas Destiny versus PCO and Brody King versus LIJ versus the Briscoes. I'm gonna go with Guerrillas Destiny in this one, definitely. And yeah, it looks interesting. Bully Ray set out an open challenge, and it was rumored that Suzuki was gonna answer it. It was answered by Juice Robinson, so that's gonna be a street fight. Ospreay and Jeff Cobb looks fucking great.
Yeah, and for the never open weight and TV titles.
Oh shit!
There's three or two title matches that are going to be title for title.
Oh fuck! Wait, what?
it's for the never open weight and the Ring of Honor TV title. The same way the tag matches is for the Ring of Honor and IWGP.
Ooh. Go on, Ospreay.
Yeah, I think Ospreay's definitely winning that.
Yeah?
Yeah, Jeff Cobb isn't getting an ever open weight. Ospreay's just started that.
Really?
And he's building himself up in heavyweight, yeah.
You see, my brain is 100% Jeff Cobb, but
okay.
my heart is Ospreay, so I'm going with Ospreay.
Okay, fair enough. In the New Japan side, you've got Zack Sabre Jr. against Hiroshi Tanahashi for the British Heavyweight Championship. It's interesting because Tanahashi is doing a lot, and this is the way you book, say, OTT and stuff, thinking about contracts and future bookings. Tanahashi's going to be doing a lot of dates with RevPro coming up, so he could win that belt. In August, it's announced, I think they announced Okada, Tanahashi, and Naito. Just saying, keep an eye out. WrestleMania. I'm just saying, it seems they use a lot of the same talent. I don't know if it's just coincidence or not.
Well, but there's a venue crisis though. Although someone did just suggest on Twitter.
You could sell out if you get Okada, Tanahashi, and Naito, you'd sell out the stadium.
You know, the venue crisis is actually solved because some lad on Twitter suggested Joe Cabray, Vicar Street. Oh my god, I'd say Joe hasn't looked there yet at all. That's genius.
You've got the IWGP Junior title, Taiji Ishimori, Dragon Lee and Bandito. That's going to be a great match. I say Ishimori should retain there. He's relatively new and they're rebuilding the junior division. They have Best of Super Juniors coming up in a couple of months as well. The Intercontinental titles on the line. It's Naito against Kota Ibushi, which is they always have great matches. It's an interesting one because Naito's holding it. Ibushi is has his number. That's the storyline we're going with. Ibushi did a promo or an interview where he's I've wrestled Naito many times. He's a great wrestler, but he has never once changed. He is the exact same wrestler that I beat the first time we faced, and he's the same wrestler I'm going to beat. So it suggests that maybe Naito is going to add something to his game here, or Ibushi's just going to win. I think that because New Japan books that in depth, where a little offhand interview, if they feature it, it matters. So it could be that Naito loses here and realizes he needs to evolve. I think Naito's losing anyway because I think he's going to win the belt at Dominion or in the future, and he's going to go into Wrestle Kingdom next year as the champion against Okada, who wins the G1. But I don't know. He could easily retain here. That's a 50-50 call. That's just the way I see it going. In the main event, you've got IWGP Heavyweight Champion Jay White Switchblade wrestling against New Japan Cup winner Kazuchika Okada. Here's where I have one of my theories. So, AEW, and the way all the lads aren't a part of this. It's weird, isn't it? How all that just happened, where we were just kind of told, oh no, they're not going to be a part of this anymore. But we didn't hear anything of a falling out, and we know that Dave Meltzer is well in with the lads. Like, they're his sources for all New Japan stories. So if something happens, Dave would know and it'd be reported. Nothing was reported. It's weird as well, like how there's apparently this split between, like, New Japan chose Ring of Honor over AEW, but we also know that Ring of Honor helped finance All In last year, and we didn't hear much of a falling out there either. There's no kind of drama or anything, which is strange. And, there's also the question that begs, why can't they just all work together? Like, what's the problem? What's actually stopping this? Like, okay, there's contracts and stuff, but they could all just agree that they're all in some kind of union here. So a lot of people are wondering, is Switchblade going to beat Okada, which he did at Wrestle Kingdom, for the title, or is Okada going to end the show standing tall in Madison Square Garden? I don't think either of those things are going to happen. I think there's going to be a holy schmoz. We're seeing in the AEW build-up, like they're doing Double or Nothing, that they're invading various promotions. It's a big thing they're doing. They invaded AAA last week, and so they're trying to build up like this core thing. It'd be a hell of a way to promote a pay-per-view if the lads just came out by surprise and destroyed this match and destroyed everything, setting some kind of invasion into tow, and that could kind of carry through all three promotions. Again, it's just weird that New Japan helped. Like, they got Kenny Omega and Cody back on the same side when that didn't really benefit New Japan. They never went anywhere with that. It just, it helped with the AEW storyline to have them be the elite, because that just made them easy to separate from the promotion. Also, it's weird that New Japan, knowing all of this would happen, put the belt on Kenny Omega. What was the point in that if, they're just not going to work together anymore? I just see a lot of things colliding towards us. I think that, I feel like I've cracked it. I feel like we haven't heard anything about this, surely it'd be news if Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes fell out with Ring of Honor in Japan, and there was this drama and everyone's pissed at each other and they're like, you'll never work here. We just haven't heard any of that. It's just like, oh no, we can't work there again. I hope I come back one day. And then just nothing said. Feels like something's brewing. But I may just be setting everyone up for disappointment. But then Okada wins.
If they get on great, why would they ruin their partner's main event?
Because it's okay.
Honestly,
it's like in real life they get on well. I don't know how to say this, but
it does sound.
They could
great.
do it they could do it in as if it if it wasn't real, they could say it was a storyline, for example.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm confused. But anyway, I think that sounds great. But no, Jay White is winning this, and it's going to end normally. And yeah.
I don't know.
I'm confident that you're wrong.
This is like when I get carried away with my fantasy.
Yeah,
it's like the way I predicted Sting win the Royal Rumble for 10 years straight.
Yeah, no, it's like you've been stood outside the National Stadium waiting for OTT for 6 hours, and you're just like, wait, what if Devlin beats Walter by interference?
Why have we not heard anything about any kind of fallout when Dave Meltzer is mates with these guys?
Because they didn't fall out. Now they're on to
They
new
didn't
projects.
Why
fall
can't
out.
they work together?
Maybe he wants to help his friends save face, or doesn't want them to come out looking bad.
But why can't they work together?
Well,
in
maybe
the
they
same
can,
way?
just don't want to.
Kenny Omega got it written into his contract in AEW that he could work with New Japan if they were interested.
Or maybe they could work together and just don't want to ruin their main event and the biggest stage. You know what I mean?
Well, they could. Yeah, this is true. They could. This could happen at any stage. This could happen.
They could invade earlier. I don't know if they'd ruin the main event.
I don't know. I think it'd be a pretty big splash.
But it would get people talking about it, about.
And the only reason I think it's the main event is because there's no good way for this to end. I don't think Switchblade is losing his first title defense, but I also don't think he's beating Okada again, because that just shits in Okada. And I don't think they're ending it on a shit note where it's like, yeah, fuck you, Jay White won, 4.5 hours, see you later. It's just I don't think they're ending that way. They don't tend to do that very often. So it's like, how do you do something that would be big, and I think this is happening anyway, and you avoid all of those things?
Oh God, you're now I'm now tempted to go on Saturday just to see the possibility of imagine they invaded. Oh my God,
they're invading everywhere. That's their thing.
Yeah, they're invading fucking Defy Wrestling in Seattle. You know what I mean? They're not invading New Japan.
Well, they worked with New Japan. Kenny Omega was the champion in New Japan as of 3 months ago.
Yeah,
They're quite close with this. That could happen. That's one text away from happening at any stage. And in Madison Square Garden.
I love that one text away. Like, he's just going to shoot off a message like, hey, bro.
Invasion, question mark?
But, like, what sense? I mean, I suppose you could... I don't know. It's interesting.
Like, you kicked us out. You sided with Ring of Honor over so they could go pure meta.
Ooh.
Like, what if all of this was a storyline?
What if AEW doesn't exist?
Well, no, AEW does exist.
Well,
no, what if, like, the whole they sided with Ring of Honor over us thing was just because they control the media because they're giving them all media passes.
Or AEW is New Japan US. Remember they wanted New Japan to be like a US thing?
Exactly.
But New Japan US didn't get that much bigger because it was, New Japan fans, where this is kind of like their way of getting,
it makes business sense. It makes less sense to work with Ring of Honor than it does to work with AEW. Like, that's crazy on New Japan's part if that's where they're going. Because it's like, you can work with this company who's dying, or you can work with this company who has loads of money and resources and contacts. And who wants to work with you, but don't want to work with Ring of Honor. Like, specifically don't. I'm just saying.
Well, how would that work then in Ring of Honor?
They can all work together. They're all friends. Ring of Honor financed all in.
I'm confused, but intrigued though. So
I'm just saying.
Confused but intrigued is like peak keen, isn't it? Like
and a little coy. Alright, let's get on to Mania. We're going to give our predictions match by match. All 16 of them.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much.
I'll be quick. I'll analyze.
There's so much. Here's the difference. To get back to Don's point earlier on, here's the difference. If there was 3 Super Sunday matches would have started at midnight, then I'd be pissed. Because I like sleep too. But look, we're going to make the best of it. We'll have points, so we won't care. We're all going to be locked on Sunday, so we won't care. Buddy Murphy against Tony Nese, Cruiserweight title. I'm going to go Buddy Murphy. I haven't been following any of this.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy.
Buddy Murphy.
Yeah.
Grand. The Revival are apparently defending the Raw Tag Team titles against Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Reason being they're from New York, 1. And 2, it's 269 on the losing streak for Kurt Hawkins. So it'd be 270, round number, I don't know. But it could be a chance at WrestleMania to, not to finish his losing streak. I think if that happens, I'm going to go for Ryder and Hawkins just because I think the WrestleMania moment will be the streak is end. If you're not going to end the streak then and you've put this match on Mania, when are you going to end it that's more relevant? So I'm going to say them just by default. And they don't care about the Raw Tag Team titles, so why not give it to them?
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I disagree entirely. I think it's actually the least relevant time to end it because... I mean, yeah, okay, he's ending. It would still technically count, even though it's not a singles match. But this is probably on the pre-show Mania.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to give a shit. Nobody's even going to be watching. People are still going to be getting into the arena. Well, I'm probably not going to be looking at the screen. I'll be looking at, like, pool or some shit. You know what I mean? This is literally the least relevant time to end it. I think ending it on, like, a big match on Raw or something is way more relevant. And the fact that they're from New York... It's also really irrelevant because it's a global crowd, you know what I mean? So, like,
that is true. But they do like doing that. Do you remember they had Naomi win the SmackDown title because she was in her home stadium? She's from Orlando.
Yeah, but I think the Revival have this 100%.
Okay, interesting.
And that's one of the ones I'm confident of. The other ones I'm like, no, this, like, the Revival, definitely.
The SmackDown Tag Team title is a 4-way. It's the Usos defending against Aleister Black and Ricochet. The Bar and Rusev and Nakamura would be gas if Aleister Black and Ricochet ended with, like, 2 tag team titles. We're just like, they're not a team! They're not a team! How do they have all the tag team belts?
We might have to accept them as a team if that happens.
Just give them a name and, like, matching gear and, like, a mashed-up team music.
Any sort of tenuous link together whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like, for those who take you to a gun, the one and only.
They even acknowledged it on NXT this week, though. They were like, for 2 men who were thrown together. And it was just like, so we're just all admitting it now.
I'm going to go to Usos by default. They're great. Why ruin a bad
Yeah,
thing?
I love the Usos.
Yeah, Usos.
Let's go there.
Moving on to Women's Battle Royal.
This is just everyone else, isn't it?
Yeah, but, like... because they have the 8-woman tag as well. Who is everyone else? Asuka's in it. Naomi.
Ruby Riott.
The Riot Squads. Mandy Rose and Sonya.
Naomi.
Naomi again.
Possibly, I would consider her, like, very possibly going to win it. Like,
she won it last year.
And I think she could win it again.
Carmella. Dance Break. She's been getting over. What's that? Alicia, I don't know if
I don't think
Alicia's
Alicia
there.
Fox is back.
I don't think we care if she was. Yeah, so
They kind of have to put Asuka over,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going with Asuka.
yeah, just because, give her something. But again, WWE is this weird thing where they put over people when they get in trouble or they do something controversial. Like, because they've got a weird thing now. Do you remember the Revival got given the tag team titles after they, like, asked for their release, and it was reported? Do you remember the Usos won the SmackDown tag team belts after they got arrested for drink driving? They could just give Naomi a spite win, and they're like, we're not punishing you. There, and then like they just like ruin her like later on. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal seems like it's all about Michael Che, Colin Jost, Braun Strowman, that whole deal, but that could be like a red herring. There could be someone else in this. Like, for example, Dean Ambrose hasn't got a match. He could be involved in this in some way. But who else is involved in this? A lot of tag teams and randoms like the Ascension and shit.
So, Braun Strowman's a clear favourite.
Yeah.
But I think Bray Wyatt could cost them.
Oh,
the whole thing. A year ago he helped Matt Hardy win it, and he hasn't done anything since then. So I think it could come back full circle, and it could start right again. His rebirth at the Andre Giant Memorial Battle Royal. But then who wins it?
Could Bray Wyatt not win it?
Well, Bray Wyatt. No, you see, my theory would be that he'd not in the match.
Right.
So he'd appear halfway through, or whenever Strowman looks like good, he'd I think
that'd be cool.
I'm looking at Mustafa Ali would have been like
that's a good show.
If the match goes as normal and there's no Bray Wyatt, I'd go with Mustafa Ali. But I think if Bray Wyatt interferes, someone bad that people don't like would probably win.
Mojo again.
Andrade's
a decent show.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn could be coming back. No, I don't think, because they can't do a proper entrance. Like, I think that's a waste of Sami Zayn.
He's in Bray right now.
Kevin Owens is in this.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, Kevin Owens is in this.
Oh, he's my pick then.
Yeah.
I don't. Are you sure about that?
He is, yeah.
Definitely.
Because I had this argument with someone on, like someone was going mad, and they're like, they could have done this, like a multi-man ladder match at, instead of Samoa Joe and Ray, except you have all these people, Andrade, KO, in the Battle Royale. So yeah, he is.
Because I looked up the list this morning, I didn't see him on it. I might just not notice.
Well, like he's around and he's on SmackDown. So
it'd be weird if he wasn't. Oh, yeah. Now that he's there, ooh, maybe I'd say he wins as a result of Bray Wyatt's interference.
And continues his, I'm a babyface. Oh, I didn't want to do this. Gee shucks.
Well, no,
I love his character at the moment. Sarcastic babyface. He's like, I'm such a good guy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, kind of. Like he's.
And also, but even if he was a legit babyface, like all he's doing is taking advantage of an opportunity. Doesn't know what I mean? But it's not like a Mustafa Ali where it's like, but is this the right thing to do? He's still Kevin Owens. He's still going to take advantage, but it doesn't necessarily make him a bad guy. You know what I mean? So I think it could be him if he's in it.
Okay.
I'll go Kevin Owens. Yeah.
I'm going to go Mustafa Ali. I love that pick, and I think they feel like they owe him because this Kofi push was all supposed to be him, and he just got hurt at the wrong time. Yeah, it's shitty, but I think they're gonna do him a solid here. Women's tag team titles: Bayley and Sasha, Natalya and Beth Phoenix, Nia and Tamina, and the Iconics. I'm listening to a lot of interviews. Sasha, I heard this week talking about how much she fought for the women's tag team titles. Bayley and her were basically knocking on Vince's door every week asking for them because they wanted something to do, but they knew Ronda, they couldn't feud for that, so they've been begging for this. They've got it, and like the way they describe it is Vince just was like, alright, fine, I'll give you them. So I don't think they're going to bail out on them that quickly, so I'm going to go Bayley Sasha.
Yeah, I think it's less of a thing of like, I think I'm just looking at the other three teams, and it's like I would not put the titles on any of the other three teams. Like Beth Phoenix is not going to be back wrestling full time. Like she's a mother to 2 kids. She's got her whole life going on. The Iconics were dreadful from what that match I seen on Raw. Like they were like beyond bad. And then Tamina and Nia Jax are not great. So. Yeah, I'm going to go process of elimination. Sasha and Bayley are keeping these titles.
I'm going to predict that The Undertaker is going to interfere and tombstone Nia, because I really liked when he came up with that idea. She's the new Pete Rose.
Initially, I was like Bayley Sasha, definitely. Then I was tempted to pick the Iconics. And now I'm picking Bailey and Sasha again, so I'm going to go with them.
Okay, thanks for taking us through that journey. US title on the line. Samoa Joe defends against Rey Mysterio. Only kind of got why they had this as a singles match this week on Raw when they were explaining, or at SmackDown, sorry, they were explaining Samoa Joe hasn't been on a WrestleMania yet. And Rey Mysterio hasn't been to WrestleMania in years, so it's like, oh, it's kind of like, it's significant to both men. So it's an interesting one, but I'm going to go with Joe because it's like, you know, Mysterio, how long does he have left? He's over anyway. He doesn't need the belt. And you can do a lot. You can do everything you can do with Mysterio more interestingly with Joe, because you can do your Cruiserweight X Division style matches, but Joe just gives it a cool dynamic, whereas with Rey Mysterio it's just high flying, and you can have that match anyways in the number one contenders match or at a pay-per-view. You don't need Mysterio to be champion, so I'm going to go with Joe for that logic. Yeah,
I think Joe as well. I think Joe losing to Rey Mysterio does damage to Joe. I think Rey Mysterio losing to Samoa Joe does no damage. And just more interesting possibilities after WrestleMania with Samoa Joe as champ.
Agreed.
Joe.
Intercontinental title on the line. Lashley defends against Finn Balor, who we learned this week will be the Demon. Demon has never lost. I don't think this is going to be his first loss. I think Balor's winning. I think there is a strong possibility of maybe both, like doing the horsewomen celebration at the end and doing the Balor celebration. Imagine they did the horsewomen in the ring with all four of them holding belts. Well, no, actually, now it can't.
Happen.
Yeah. They can't do it now. So, right, if they're going to do any celebration, it's going to be Finn with the Intercontinental belt.
That'd be so random. Why would they do that?
They had Finn and Becky do a promo on Raw a few weeks ago. It was almost as if they were reminding us that they're close.
It's a bit unnecessary to bring them out.
Why?
It'd be like at the Rumble after Asuka and Nakamura both won, them doing like a little...
Yeah, but they never wrestled kind of together. Like, Nakamura's New Japan, and they obviously don't have women. So, like, it's like...
On Becky's Chronicle, they had her talk with Finn about how he trained her and stuff. Like, they keep reminding us that, like, he's the one who trained her. They have a history together.
On commentary, so, like, it's out there. And they can do, I was watching WrestleMania 20 and I was like, it'd be so cool if they redid this with Becky and Finn. They did that. Do you remember Eddie Guerrero, like, pumping up Chris Benoit? And it was like, nobody thinks you're going to do it, Holmes. And then it was like, I'm going to win. And they could do that, like during the show and just plant it in your head.
Yeah, but if it was the world champion or the universal, I'd get you, but it's like intercontinental, I don't know. It's like,
it's like Finn just congratulating.
Isn't as good.
It's not that the two of them are like the best. It's just Finn congratulating her in general. Like, she's going to have to celebrate some way and in a significant way.
Oh, you know what they'll probably do? Bring all the women out. First women's main event. Yeah. They'll probably have
Stephanie clapping hands at the front.
They'll probably have them all out on the ramp clapping. Three girls doing a handshake and a hug.
Now you want to see Balor.
Yeah. That Balor idea sounds a lot cooler, yeah. And Stephanie McMahon, oh my god.
But yours sounds way more realistic.
But I love the four horsewomen one, and I said it to Phil, and he got so thick at me. And I was like, what do you mean? Do you not want to see this? And he goes, I want to see it so badly that you've ruined it.
Right, well, sticking to this match, I don't think the Demon's losing this time. I don't think Lashley's the guy. So I've got Balor to win.
Oh, yeah, Balor.
Moving on to AJ Styles against Randy Orton. It's an interesting one. Like, it's the whole two guys who I'm not really mad about. Personally, I like them in the ring. This should be a good match. AJ?
Orton. I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, I can't wait, yeah.
It's probably going to be a good match, but I just can't get hyped about it. You know what I mean?
For me personally, I'm really cheering on Orton. So...
Okay.
Of a side to pick, and once I have a side, the match is a lot better. Like,
why Orton?
Because I'm not an AJ fan.
Okay.
I just like all his matches, and I know we're going to talk about some slow blows, but like all his matches, you know, Styles Nakamura, Styles Joe, Styles fucking whoever, just haven't been that great. You know what I mean? I don't get excited for them.
Okay.
Styles Bryan, that's what I was thinking of. I don't get like the only thing that got me excited in any of those matches was my man Big Red coming back and taking him out, which is great. I think if there was ever a time for Orton to kill someone, now would be it.
Okay, interesting. I like it. Okay, here you go.
I used to be part of like a internet e-fed type thing, and I was really invested in my Randy Orton versus AJ Styles feud. That, like, the backstory to it was, Randy Orton's wife had cheated on him with AJ Styles, and then they started feuding, and it was a whole thing, really. So So this match is kind of the culmination of that fantasy feud I wrote for an E-Fed 15 years ago. And, I don't know. I think I'm the real winner in this match.
I'd like to think they made this match just because of that. Like they just saw it, like, you know what, we need to take this off.
There was some like WWE writer who was part of that event. And years later, he's like, "Hey guys, I think we should do AJ and Orton," and they're just like, "I love it."
You know who else was part of the C-Fed?
Who else?
NXT UK Saxon Huxley. That's how I met him.
Outing people.
All out.
Jesus, like it's okay to out yourself. Like.
Well, no, that was like I met him more in like the chat room, like internet boards type thing afterwards. But like,
did he like ASL you?
No, it wasn't that weird. But the best thing was about them boards. So I was in the fantasy booking thread, right?
Forget WrestleMania. I want to hear about this.
I was in the fantasy booking thread, but there were a lot of general chats and stuff, and like he was one of the people I got chatting to. We migrated to a second secret chat room, not just me and him. Like there was about 20 of us chosen because the other people just didn't understand our level of intellect on the internet. So a secret password was sent out to these other boards, and it was top secret. It was deadly. I feel like I've revealed too much today.
This is fantastic.
Well, I met him at a show in Holland about 2 years ago, and like we've been chatting, and I was just like, "Isn't it really weird how we met?" And then like I was there at like Phil and a few others, and Phil was looking at me. I was like, "Internet chat room," and he was like, "This doesn't make it better." I was like, "Fantasy booking? No, still not better."
I think every wrestling podcast should be forget about all the, I train really hard and I have to feed my wife and kids. Or I don't think it should be that. I want to hear about the most nerdy shit you did with wrestling. That's fascinating to me. That is fantastic. Wrestlers, they're just like us, guys. Fucking losers. Sorry, felt like I went too far.
The first time I wrestled on Progress, he messaged me and he's like, "Oh, it's nice to see you've gone from the boards to Progress." I was like, I messaged him the same thing when he got signed to NXT.
It's a really nice story. It's a really nice story.
He's a really nice guy.
Oh, go on. I'm gonna actually like Saxon Huxley a lot more now as a result. I feel like I've got a stake in him.
Hang on. A few weeks ago I said I really like Saxon Huxley and Tyson T-Bone, and you laughed at me. So you know what? I was right. I had an eye for Saxon Huxley.
There we go.
To answer the question, I don't care who wins.
I'm so glad we went in that diversion anyway. Falls Count Anywhere. Shane McMahon against The Miz. I think The Miz is in line for our future title shot. I think he's winning here.
Yeah, Miz.
I didn't know it was Falls Count Anywhere. That's deadly. Yeah. I think Shane's going to fucking kill himself. But that would result in The Miz win, so I'm going to go with The Miz.
Yeah, I think we'd see an elbow drop through the table, Miz pin.
No, I think it's going to be something mad. I think he's going to jump off the roof or something.
The Miz doesn't take big bumps, so that's real interesting. Like he's not known for his risky style or anything.
And we haven't seen much kind of hardcore stuff from Miz either, that I can think of. So it's a nice departure as well. Just working as a babyface, and it would be different. Angle against Corbin. Here's what. I think
you're thinking the same thing I am.
Yeah, I don't think this match is happening. Is it Instagram related?
No.
Okay. Here's what I think is going to happen. Corbin's going to come out. He's going to give shit to the fans. He's going to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm the guy. I'm getting Kurt Angle's last match." In the middle of this, what's going to happen? You're going to hear, John Cena runs out. Is like, "Nobody wants to see this match. Nobody cares about this match." And Corbin's like, "Well, I'll fight you." John Cena's like, "Yeah." He hits him with the AA, fucks off, and he's like, "I think the match people really want to see is Kurt Angle's last match. Is my first ever match in WWE. How about John Cena, Kurt Angle?" Everyone goes, "Yay!" And then they have a match. Also, keep in mind, John Cena inducted Kurt Angle into the Hall of Fame. It's a much better match. I think this is a total misnomer. I think the fact that they're acknowledging that nobody wants to see this match is a hint that that's where they're going with it. If not John Cena, maybe somebody else. And I think if it's Cena, I think Angle's win. I think Angle's winning either way here. I think you can have a Cena or Corbin take a loss to Angle. It won't hurt either of them because it's a novelty win. I think they want Angle to go out on top. Katie, who you got?
I think the other person's going to win, not Angle.
Whoever's
going to job on his way out.
Right, fair enough.
Right, mine is slightly different. I think Corbin Angle is happening, And I think Angle's going to win in like 15 seconds.
Right.
Like, it's going to be, whatever it is. Angle, slam, block, whatever the fuck. And then I think he's going to be like, that was shit. And he's going to be like, right, open challenge. If anyone back there thinks they have the ruthless aggression to come out and fight me or whatever, etc., etc., you know what I mean? And then it's him and Cena have a match. I think Cena would win. I'm going to go with Angle then Cena. Or, I think it could be Undertaker.
Could be.
I think it could be Cena, because I think, there's been all this talk of Cena having a match. It'd be weird if he didn't have a match. It's John Cena, you know what I mean? So, I'm really looking forward to this now.
Yeah.
I think it's almost definitely going to happen. Like, something's going to happen.
I think whatever, and here's the thing with Angle matches. They've been advertising, they did the first Dream match, I think the Samoa Joe match, and then they promised AJ Styles, and that didn't happen because Randy Orton interfered, and then they promised Rey Mysterio, and they ended up not doing that match because Baron Corbin got involved, and they did Rey Mysterio, Baron Corbin instead. So they've been, cock teasing us some matches they haven't delivered on. Maybe that's been foreshadowing in their own little way. So I think whatever happens here, it's going to be better than we think. Oh, Angle Corbin, you know what I mean? This isn't selling the pay-per-view, so they can mess with us a bit here.
This is the Taker Cena of this year.
Yeah.
And I love it. That was my moment of the night, that time. It was so good. Just, because you know what's coming, but you're still waiting and waiting and waiting. And when you hear the gong, everyone's just like, yeah!
And I love the way they've started doing that in Mania, even with Braun Strowman last year. I love the way they do different style segments, because especially on a long show.
That's what I was about to say, yeah. It's good to break it up and kind of. I love that shit anyway. You know what I mean?
Just keep you awake.
Exactly. I love surprises. I love twists and turns. It's fucking great.
There needs to be almost in a 5-hour show. There needs to be a main event nearly every hour to keep you awake. There needs to be something to trigger something. You know what I mean? So I think that'll definitely be one. Roman Reigns returns for his first singles match since his injury against Drew McIntyre. I think Drew McIntyre is winning this. I think he's probably going to win it cleanly, and I think he's going to win it convincingly. I think Reigns is going to have his big moment later in the night as well, so we'll forget about that. But I think if Rollins wins, McIntyre is in line for a title shot immediately, and it also is I took out Dean Ambrose, I took out Roman Reigns, now I'm taking out Seth Rollins and I'm winning the Universal belt. Whether he does or not to be continue, but I think McIntyre's winning here.
That makes a lot of sense. That's convinced me. I was dead staunch and they're not making Roman Reigns lose, but that's kind of...
See, they love using that, his story for heat.
Yeah.
And he'll be fine with it. It's, and also as well, it's they just got people on side of Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So having him lose and making people upset that he didn't win, just put you more in his corner as well, so it'll actually benefit him.
This is where we get into the part of the card that makes or breaks my predictions. I'm so torn on which way to go. Without getting too into it, because I know we're obviously going to get into it, but I'm on one hand, I've heard people saying that we're overlooking the fact that Rollins, beating Lesnar. We're looking at it as a certainty in a way. But Lesnar could beat Rollins, because it's not the main event, it's not the biggest deal. And then Reigns could go on to beat Lesnar and do, they could do that again. In which case, he'd probably be beating McIntyre. In which case, Kofi would be beating Bryan. All these, it's a knock-on effect. So every decision that I make now is it affects the other matches. I'm going to go with, I'm kind of 50-50 in my head on what's going to happen. So I'm going to go what I want to happen. And in Rowan versus Drew, a match I've wanted to see for so long. I've always wanted Drew to win. I fucking love Drew. Yeah. Sorry. But, I'm going to go with Drew. So
Interesting.
I'd just like to point out that Cian is now single.
No holds barred. Triple H's career is on the line. He's facing Batista. I think it's people have said it's Batista's last match. I don't think that's a secret. It's just a case of, is Triple H going to retire here? No, clearly not. I think the stipulation ruined the intrigue in this match, because I could have seen Batista winning. They're also building Triple H as the babyface in this feud, and Batista is the one guy he's never beaten, so it's more significant to have Triple H win and survive. Also, a few weeks ago on Raw, they had Triple H come out and go and say, kind of half laughing, if I can't beat you, I don't deserve to wrestle anymore, which... if he doesn't win, then it's the old Tracy Smothers thing. It's I don't know if I've ever told this story. He gave out shit to Bodyman Bruiser before in the back, because Bodyman Bruiser called him an old man. The problem was Tracy had said beforehand his exact instructions were, call me an old man. Bruiser went out, he's like, you're an elfle. And then in the back he's like, Bruiser, who did you beat? If you beat me, an old man. If you lose, who'd you beat? Or who beat you? An old man. It's that logic. If you shit in your opponent and then they beat you, you can't come back. Triple H is winning this.
What if he doesn't, though? What if he is just genuinely ready to retire? What if he's busy with NXT?
We don't know,
What the fuck does retirement mean, though? I mean, he only wrestles once or twice a year. He could easily just retire and commit retirement in a year or two, and it wouldn't make a difference, you know what I mean? So that, for me, that stipulation means nothing.
What if Batista's ready for, like, one more run? Like, what if he wants to just wrestle again properly for... What if Lesnar wins, and what if we get Batista and Lesnar?
What I find interesting, because I didn't even know this is a no-holds-barred match. This is a no-holds-barred match. Yeah. So this could be like the DX NWO Sting shit.
Yeah.
Like, it could be that match, you know what I mean? Like, I am so looking forward to this.
Getting inducted the night before, they'll all be there.
Yeah.
DX or Evolution.
And then what if Orton comes out for it? Yeah. Orton and Flair come out and start attacking like Road Dogg. That's depressing. Flair chopping Road Dogg, the slowest chops you've ever seen.
But he's so funny though.
What if Flair just wanders out crying, going, guys, please don't fight? And then, like, there's that.
Who else? Was there anyone else that could get involved in Batista?
Rey Mysterio, Batista Mysterio.
Devon Dudley.
What?
They just start going through their career.
Guardians of the Galaxy come out to promote Endgame. DX versus the Guardians.
No, because the Guardians are all dead.
Oh, yeah.
The Rocket come out randomly. CGI. Who you got, Cian?
Right, so my head's telling me like Triple H 100%, because like when he fights old lads he wins, and when he like fights young lads he loses. But for me, like, when Batista comes out, I'm going to be cheering the fuck out of Batista. Yeah. Batista was one of my favourites when I was younger, and I think everybody in the room is going to be the same. You know what I mean? Who doesn't love Batista? He's the fucking man. Everyone's going to be losing their shit. And when I'm cheering for someone, I want my predictions to be like they're winning. Otherwise, it's kind of like, what's the word? Bittersweet. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, I don't want to ruin the moment, so I'm going to pick Batista to win, because fuck it, it'll be a laugh. And when he does, it's going to be great. I can't wait for this match.
Okay, interesting. WWE title on the line. Daniel Bryan defends against Kofi Kingston. I think Bryan's winning this. I think there's more juice in Bryan. I think Kofi's story is told when he headlines WrestleMania. This whole story is about Kofi. I've never got an opportunity for a singles match at WrestleMania. I think there's going to be some hijinks. Rowan will probably interfere, or Bryan will like roll him up and use the tights or something. Like, there'll be some hijinks in it, but Bryan is winning here. Bryan is money. There's so many. And look at the way they book SmackDown. They have Kevin Owens as a babyface. They've got Miz as a babyface. They've turned these people because they've got a strong heel champion they can build towards for months. So I think Bryan's winning here.
The New Day are at ringside, yeah?
Yeah.
What if they turn on him?
No.
What if it happens? Like, the New Day have been around a long time. Like, Big E is a star. Big E is a single star.
Oh.
He is. Like, he's, like, I've been obsessed with Big E since NXT. Like, I love him. And, like, if he turns heel and, like, goes on a singles run, and, like, got Kofi versus Big E and Xavier in the middle. And,
I agree, but I hate it.
That's happening.
I don't think it is.
Oh, I'm like, you've convinced me. I think that's happening.
Yeah, what is
because why are the New Day so happy
to
see Kofi? They're like, that's typical WWE. Where they're so happy, they're like, yeah, Kofi, yeah, you're getting this opportunity, you are getting this opportunity.
And they're doing the whole thing like, we put you there, we can take you down. It's like the whole evolution thumbs down thing.
You figured it out. Oh my god,
it's happening. It's definitely happening.
But at least you won't cry as much.
I will cry as much. I'm going to cry more, in fact.
I'm going to start crying now. I'm not stopping until it happens.
Like, there is legit nothing for the New Day to do afterwards. Does Kofi just go back into, like tag matches straight away?
Oh my god. Oh no, you're right. No, you're definitely. See, this actually helps my predictions though, so I was kind of 50-50 on this one. Mainly because I was thinking, like, if Kofi wins, okay, you could do like a New Day triple threat at the next show, but then like what after that? Do you know what I mean? Whereas if Bryan wins, people are legitimately gonna hate that. They're gonna be fucking mad as shit.
What if Bryan wins and they turn on him anyway? Because we put you there and you couldn't get the job done.
I think if it was going to be done... No, I think it was going to be done it being a shock kind of twist way.
Yeah, do it.
Would that not be a shock twist, though, if they're kind of comforting him after the match and then next thing, like...
No, there's no bad way, like, you can do it, but it's just having the New Day turn on him saves face. Like, it lets him, it's like, he could have fucking won. That way the New Day get all the heat and Bryan gets the heat as well, you know what I mean?
And then Rowan can get his title shot and then they can do that. But even still, like, and my logic on it is, this is a Becky's Mania, this is the women's Mania, this is not Kofi's Mania. I feel like for him to win the title, it would have to be like the biggest thing on the show. And I feel like if it could still happen in a year's time, you know what I mean? Or even at SummerSlam, it doesn't even have to be Mania, but like, a main event is what it would have to be. I just don't think he'd win the title in the middle of a show.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm actually. Thanks for this. I'm actually more confident now. I'm going with Bryan. Yeah.
Okay, well, he's happy now. There we go.
I'm gonna be upset on a few days. So.
Universal title on the line. Brock Lesnar defends against Seth Rollins. I think this is happening. We're doing the big shields, like hug afterwards. Ambrose going off into the sunset. Reigns, it sets up tension with Reigns and Rollins. Reigns never lost that belt as well, so that's interesting too. And also, it's time. But we thought it was time a year ago too, so who knows? But keep in mind that Reigns was due to beat Lesnar. Reigns did beat Lesnar at SummerSlam. This is borrowed time for Brock Lesnar, essentially, while he competes in, there's testing for the UFC with USADA. He's got to, do a certain amount of months of that, so he's been killing time with WWE. We were never meant to get this time anyway, so yeah, it's time for Rollins. Everything's syncing up for me.
Yeah, I just want someone to turn heel. So if my previous predictions happen, Roman Reigns is turning heel. I'm sorry, Nicola. I'm really scared about this prediction sitting beside her. You were like, okay, cool, we're on the same page. It's just, I love that. I like the Chris Jericho thing I was saying. He's got such goodwill and sympathy. Finally, the perfect reason to turn heel. He literally had to leave to get over, he's got a good.
You have to get leukemia,
there. Okay.
For people to care. But they're gonna play it. They played that card so much,
He's like, I didn't say that.
Let the record show.
Disclaimer.
I was always on the Rollins side the whole time, and then when you get close to Mania, people are planting seeds of doubt in your head, and you're like, oh, what if Roman Reigns is going to be the guy, or what if Lashley? Oh, it wouldn't be Lashley really, but it's still. But you know what I mean? What if it's someone else? No, I'm going to go with what I want. I want Rollins to win it, and I'm hoping he does. I think he will. It's going to be fucking great. I don't think Reigns is going to turn heel either now. I'm going to go with the Shield hug thing. I think that's going to happen. And Nicola's going to cry, and it's going to be mad. But yeah.
Main event time. I think back to last year's main event, Reigns against Lesnar, and when half of Busker's just like, I'm going home. It's really late, and I don't care who wins this match. And it cleared out. That will not be the case here. Everyone is going to be absolutely off their head locked and absolutely buzzing for this. I think it's going to be a great match. I think Becky's winning. I think it's nailed on. There's no other way to do this to close out Mania. She's winning. There's no other possibility I see here. I think she's going to tap out Rousey as well. I think that's where this is coming. This is I think Charlotte is in there. They always do this. Again, watching WrestleMania 20, they did the exact same strategy where it's they're not going to have they only threw in Shawn Michaels there. Either Shawn Michaels, people freaked out about Shawn Michaels being thrown into the Benoit Triple H thing in the same way they freaked about Charlotte, because they're like, something's up, what's going wrong? Here they're kind of well, Charlotte's in there to take the pin, and so Rousey doesn't have to. It's WrestleMania. This is where this shit happens. I think Rousey is tapping out to the disarmer. They'll probably do something where, Charlotte hits her with her move first, Becky fucks Charlotte out of the ring, and then Becky gets the disarmer on her, so Rousey looks somewhat strong anyway. But yeah, I think Becky's tapping out Rousey here.
Yeah, I'm going with my heart, Becky. Like he was saying, bittersweet. I would just want her to win.
Yeah.
No logic.
I always hate writing people off, because everyone wrote off Lesnar last year. You know what I mean?
But again, keep in mind, the only reason that they put it on Lesnar is because they were afraid they'd get a backlash against Reigns. They were afraid the end of Mania was people going to be booing the shit out of Reigns.
Is that why?
That's why. It was Reigns all the way. That was the call on the day that was made.
That was mad.
Yeah.
But, what? I'm curious to see how it happens, though. I think there will be moments in the match where I end up going, no way, Charlotte's going to win. Or oh, Ronda's going to win. You know what I mean? I think
they're really good at doing those triple threats.
I hope, Ric Flair tries to get Charlotte to win, only for, Finlay to come out and beat the fuck out of him or something. And, Finlay comes out and just, slaps Travis fucking Brown, or... Wait, which Travis... Is that Travis Brown?
Travis Banks.
Travis Banks. That's
I'm really confident
I hope Travis Banks interferes on behalf of Ronda just because it'd be funny.
Then Jordan Devlin runs Travis Banks off.
Oh, fuck off. Imagine Devlin interfering to I don't know. I don't think there will be interference, but there'll be I'm sure there'll be weapons and stuff. It's no DQ. Obviously.
And then Justy shows up and we're like, you were just here, Justy. He's like, yeah, the show's really long.
No, man, no.
I could fly over.
It turns out it was pre-taped the whole time. Everyone doing a sports sign on paper. So, yeah, I don't know. I do know Becky. But yeah.
What if, right?
I'm liking your
They
conspiracy
start
theories.
trying to run away, and then all of a sudden, Paul Tracy appears, and then Joe Cabray appears, and then all the promoters. Marion Armstrong appears, Phil Boyd appears, and they just force Ronda and Charlotte back into the ring to face Becky.
What if you cash in after the match and it turns out that your elbows were fine this whole time? And,
Oh my god!
you walk out as champion. Oh.
I was we didn't notice any of them leaving. That's impressive. How long is the show? Anyway, guys, that's WrestleMania. There was just one bit of business to conclude before we wrap up, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for
Queen versus King.
Okay, so Queen versus Keen. Guys, this worked out perfectly in one way and horribly in another. So basically, we are tied now at 9-9 in Queen versus Keen, just ahead of the biggest event in Low Blows of the year. So, I think it's obvious that there's only one way we can settle this. And we're doing Pillmania, of course. The Queen versus Keen feud began in Pillmania. That's where it works out perfectly. Where it worked out horribly is Katie. You had to go. We had this long-term storyline built up. It all worked out perfectly organically. And you had to go and get injured, for fuck's sake.
I'm sorry.
Pussied out
So we're hoping it'd all build up into
I
amazing.
jumped off that top rope so I wouldn't have to face Cian.
It was an absolute nosedive. Near any direction.
You know what? I caught his eye as he sat in the front row of Contenders, and he just gave me a look, and I was like, fuck this, I'm not playing pool against him. And I jumped.
So it was all building up towards a pool match. And again, this is the Queen versus King is legit. It all worked out just perfectly for this. So we need to finish this once and for all. The winner of this wins it all. Forget about the previous rounds. It's all about Sunday. We are, sorry Katie, still going to have a pool match. However, Katie, you're getting big into Game of Thrones now.
Yeah.
So you'll be aware that there is a system for situations like this called trial by combat, where people get to have their fates decided by the gods, and they get to pick a champion of sorts who can compete on their behalf.
Am I the imp? Am I the imp in this situation? Am I Tyrion?
Yes.
You can be if you want. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do a pool match for Queen versus Keen. Winner takes it all in a trial by combat. So you guys will get to name. Katie, obviously you'll have to name a champion. Now, I'm going to take Phil Boyd off the map. He's going to be competing
unlucky.
twice. I don't think that's fair. So I'm going to give you a few days to have a think about it. Think about a champion that you want to select for how you can beat Keen at WrestleMania.
Please tweet me applications.
Keen, you can also select a champion. I'm going to make it fair because Katie knows a lot of good pool players. So you can have a look around. Or you can compete yourself. It's completely up to yourself. No man has ever beaten you at pool. So you may have to come out of retirement.
That's true. Oh my god.
So there we go, guys. And also, you guys don't know this yet, but the winner of this will not only be the winner of Queen versus Keen, they will be inducted into the Low Blows Hall of Fame. So you only have one spot, and the loser, it gets to be a non-Hall of Famer for a year. So that is ultimate bragging rights. You've a year's worth of bragging rights over the other person. So, guys, a lot on the line here. Any last fighting words that you want to say to each other? Oh, she's making it personal. She's making it personal.
You're gonna lose.
Since I can't play pool, I'm literally just going to get a tub of Pringles and I'm just going to pour them out onto the ground.
Oh,
That'd be like, remember a session what where you pour the can out and everyone was like, oh, what a bitch, fuck Katie Harvey. That'd be like me, but no one else would react that way.
And then I was like pouring, I was like, I am avoiding Joe Cabray for the next 2 hours.
Okay, guys, so there you go. It'll be settled. That's the main event of Pillmania, by the way. You're going on last, guys. It's that big. We've been building up to this all year. So So guys, check out Be There in Buskers as if you needed any other reason. There you go, the finale of Queen vs. Cian happening live in Buskers on Sunday. But until then, we hope to see you at the weekend or Sunday or whenever you can, guys. Until then, Katie, a week away from the Fight Factory Project Next Gen show.
Yep.
All things coming along fine, all things looking good?
I know the matches.
Okay.
I don't know if I can say any of them.
I don't know, well, it's your show, so...
I could say that More Than Hype will be in action.
Okay.
They are going to challenge some next-gen people.
Okay, interesting.
We're going to see how that goes.
All right, interesting. I can't wait. So, all right. We'll stay tuned to social media for the latest updates on that. Corporate Cian, any videos coming up?
No.
Well, you've loads of other videos on your YouTube, so subscribe to Corporate Cian on YouTube for more. And in the meantime, on the network this week, we will have Ask Low Blows returning with a WrestleMania special. We will have Paddy's New Yacht back, and of course, the latest episode of the one with the podcast is online. But we'll be back next week after WrestleMania to review it all and chat about the hijinks that came in the meantime. But until then, for Katie Harvey, for Corporate Cian, I've been Rick Nash, and that's the bottom line. As Low Blow said so.